Mother. Man.
Hey, Albert DeSalvo drinking Samuel Adams in my car down by the harbor. Before I kill bitches, I listen to Murder Metal Mayhem.
Spreading faster than a case of the clap in a trailer court. Able to shatter eardrums within a 666-mile radius. A podcast more brutal than all the rest. It's Murder Metal Mayhem!
Well, it's nice to Albert DeSalvo do a little promo for us there.
He is not a nice person.
He's not very much at all. He's a piece of shit. And that's what we do here on Tuesday here at Horns High Studios on the Horns High Podcast Network, doing episode 118 going down tonight on Murder Metal Mayhem. It's going to be a good one, Joey.
Fuck yeah, man. Boston
I'm pretty
Strangler.
psyched for this
Stoked,
one. Yeah, definitely. Now, I got Chris, Joey here. How you guys doing? Pandemic surviving days that we're in?
Still working
Still
for
doing
now.
the same shit I do every day.
Yeah, same here, man. It doesn't change much for us. So just getting by and dealing with it. So it's been crazy. Now, T-shirts tonight, Chris. What do you got going on over there?
Malignancy, man.
Nice.
Fucking right, dude.
Christian. Christian music.
Hardcore.
Yeah. And Joey, what about you?
I'm wearing the inebriated shirt. One man from here in Illinois.
Nice.
Ben Kitchen, who also did Sarcophagy and fucking Gorgasm.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I got my Electro Voice shirt on when I remember when we were trying to get some endorsements early on, and I remember I sent them an email because I've been using the Electro Voice 20 forever and really like it, and I wanted to get one for Chris, and they're not cheap. So I wrote to him, and I'm like, hey, I've been using the mics for quite some time now, and was wondering, we're doing this podcast and trying to get,
Let's try
sponsorship.
Real quick.
If you could maybe hook us up with a deal or, something with the mic, it'd be awesome, And so I got a very form letter back, and then they sent me a T-shirt in the mail. So
hell yeah.
I guess they figured they didn't want to give me a microphone, but they would give me a T-shirt. Yeah. So that's all good. But I love their microphones, so me and Chris are using Electro Voice stuff and have pretty much since we've been doing this. With the first couple, maybe not.
No, not the first couple.
But pretty early on. So anyway, last week was a good one, guys. We had Jesse from Incinerate on with us, talking about some Minnesota shit, Chris. That was fucking
all
crazy.
That killing all the weepy voice motherfucking shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Jesse being from Minnesota, that was cool,
That's cool as shit.
We have never done that before. I kind of am glad that we came up with that idea,
that was tight.
Because we did a little medley. We did Paul Stefani, the weepy voice killer, as you said, Chris, and that was just fucking hilarious. I mean,
and just his voice his voice is hilarious.
Yeah. And it was funny when Jesse said that the whiny bitch killer must have already been taken. That was a great comment, so I really like that. And then we covered the 16-year-old axe murderer, David Brahm. Pretty brutal shit.
Like
56 blows with an axe, man.
Between his family, but still, that's fucked up, man.
Mom, dad, sis, and 9-year-old brother fucking hacked up with an axe. Fucking wicked.
Jesus.
And then we also did that school shooter, Chris, on the Indian reservation, Jeff Weiss. And that was, horrible. Those school shooting stories are awful.
Oh, yeah.
But so that was a good one. We had Jesse on. That was a lot of fun. We had CK talking about the metal band Agent Steel, which was one I didn't know a lot about. I know you guys didn't really either, so that was cool. Always talking good metal news with CK. And then Joey, you talked about the great HOI.
Yes.
Hell yeah,
that was amazing, man. The Heart of Illinois show that we just did on Halloween. Yep. That was awesome.
In the books.
Yeah, and we talked about that in depth, all the bands that played and just some of the stuff that happened. Just a good time. And then, go listen to episode 117 if you missed it. We just hit 1,000 on that one, guys. So doing just about average for that episode. So that's really cool.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, motherfucker.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Now, tonight, we got a good one. I mean, we've been talking about this one pretty much since we started doing the show. the Boston Strangler had to be on the list.
Oh, yeah.
So Albert DeSalvo is the guy they think did it. We're going to talk about that. A little controversy with that.
A lot of controversy with that.
So that one goes back to the 1960s with some really gruesome rapes and murders. A lot of older women, not the typical victim of serial killers. A lot of controversy with whether he really did it or not. And there's some DNA evidence that's been fairly recent that kind of broke some things open with the case. So really excited about this one tonight. I learned a lot from researching this one. I really did. So we'll talk about that one in the murder segment. That should be awesome.
A good one. Fucking yeah.
We got CK warming up, guys. He's been scaring me because he seems like he just keeps doing all this violent stuff. He's been getting ready for the metal segment tonight. He's going old school with another classic metal band, Jag Panzer. I don't know anything about.
Fuck yeah.
I know who they are, but not a band I listen to a lot, but know who they are and have for a long time. But he's been throwing hammers from his front porch. I don't know if he's got like an Ace endorsement, where he's getting all these
all
hammers.
the shit that he's fucking throwing all the time.
Because if he's throwing shit off of his front porch on Wildman Street, I mean, you're talking about a lot of foot traffic. I mean, you're talking about going through drums of these things, man. So
that's a lot of fucking hammers for one man to throw.
Yeah, and the police came, apparently. I just allegedly came over to his house to tell him to stop. And he was throwing fucking hammers at the fucking cops.
Fucking
so
crazy.
They just fucking left them. And so CK just literally zero fucks given. So he's just
monster,
being a fucking
dude.
savage, man.
Fucking monster.
So that's CK, and he's ready tonight. We'll get him on, of course, in the metal segment. Killer cage match, always a fun time. Chris, got a few listeners to thank.
Yes, we have Steve-O Morningstar, we got Mason Robertson, and we got Kathy Spalding. I'm sorry. So thanks a lot for the numbers. And
yeah.
Appreciate y'all listening and checking it out. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. We get the quick answers on Facebook for sure. And then we have, a good one going down tonight in the cage. Joey, we match up serial killers and just maniacs. So who do we got tonight?
Well, we got two guys that kind of like having people do their dirt for them.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fucking Charles Manson versus Al Capone.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Old school with that one. So
I feel like Al Capone actually did get his hands dirty.
Yeah,
though.
I'm thinking Charlie Manson's going to be like crying like a little girl in this one. But, hey, the objects could make it interesting. So we get two good objects that our listeners picked for the going in the cage with them. So Manson and Capone tonight. And, of course, that is in the Mayhem segment, so you don't want to miss that. Just keep listening. I've been looking, too, at some of our stats on Apple shows the percentages or how much of the show on average they listen to.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of them that listen to a majority of the show. Nice. I know some people drop out, you get busy and come back to it later or something like that, but it's very interesting to see that stuff. Thanks to the listeners who commented about my reading of The Creep last week. I had a few people email me about that and posted some stuff. Was a 10-minute piece of that short story. I do appreciate the comments. I got another one I did for you tonight, going back to Creation of Chaos 1, with one of my all-time favorites, the Jesus Tree, probably as close to a ghost story as I've ever done. So, pretty haunting story, a true thing that used to be in existence back when I was a teenager in Danbury, Connecticut, where Danbury, Connecticut, and Brewster, New York meet. There's the Jesus tree was there. It was pretty cool. So I wrote about it and kind of made up my own story. Anyway, I read part one of that, and we'll do that later in the Mayhem segment, about a 5-minute and so piece on that.
I listened to that segment, and it sounded good.
Cool.
So
cool.
Man.
Well, thank you.
Fucking right.
Because I'm getting ready to start doing some audio books. So these little snippets have been good for me to kind of figure out some things I need to get better at, things I can do to just help it sound as good as it possibly can. So I appreciate the feedback. Huge thanks to our friends Spellbound Effects and Art. Man,
Right, man.
this shit is so fucking amazing. I mean, you take pictures of this stuff and they always get comments. I mean,
Like
it's so
that thing's
cool.
fucking cool as shit.
Yeah,
bro.
I mean, the
Fucking-
spike and the forearm with our name carved in it. Tony Campagna, Spellbound Effects and Art. Just an amazing dude. All about it. Got the coolest shit, Joey, on his online catalog.
Absolutely, yeah.
Body parts, fucking thumb drives.
And he's always creating.
Yeah, and he's got all
Non-stop
these
creating.
custom pieces. Chris, he's got that fucking
the fucking
cowboy hat.
hat, they got
Man,
the fucking apron, the fucking that mask, the baby, that fucking head with the
the
fucking
dead
block,
baby
dude.
head was fucked up. Yeah,
Dude.
Yeah. So, so you got to go check it out, spellboundeffectsandart.com, and go buy some stuff for that fucked up person on your Christmas list,
out.
right? I mean, what better for your dad, Chris? Buy him a thumb drive, man.
Dad fucking roll with it though.
Yeah,
That's the
you know,
thing.
he would love it.
He's like,
yeah.
all right, cool.
But not all dads can be pawback.
Right.
So that's a special kind of breed. And we know Pawback's been going through some medical shit lately, so
Yeah,
our
yeah.
hearts, of course, out and
He's,
fans supporting it. Chris's dad, Pawback, been dealing with some stuff, but he's home. He's getting better. He's a tough SOB, so
I took
not too
work
worried
off,
about
I
it.
took off work tomorrow to go to the hospital to get another procedure done. So
Yeah.
yeah, so hell
That's
saving.
cool, man. That's cool. Thanks to everybody out there listening. You guys are amazing listening to Murder Metal Mayhem. We keep seeing the numbers rolling in. We were just under 3,000 listens this week, so that was cool. Always good to see it. So we appreciate it. And fucking Lake Stevens, Washington is still number one. They got 11% of the listens. Chicago number 2. Danbury and Bloomington have been tied or neck and neck for 3rd and 4th. So those are the top ones. And we're seeing new cities constantly popping up on the list. Canada listens up. We appreciate all you guys. So really,
Fucking rats.
thank you
Appreciate
very,
it a
very
lot.
much.
Fucking A, man.
Just keep telling people about it. That's the best
Never
way.
stop. Never
Right.
stop.
So, Chris, Joey, we got a lot on our plate tonight. We got to fucking go to Beantown and
Yeah.
see what's going on with some old ladies getting strangled, raped, and fucking
Yeah, that
left for dead,
fucking
man.
reckon we ought to go get a bathrobe belt and get our strangulation on.
Fuck yeah, some new Fates Warning, the song Shuttered World on the new one, man. It's amazing. Their 13th album, it's on Metal Blade. I'm sure CK is going to talk about it in the the
I
metal
have no
segment, because
doubts
he
about
did
that.
his Thursday live on Facebook about it, and he loves it. I know I do too. So that's just it's killer. It just came out on Friday, so definitely
right.
digging on that. So tonight we're going to be talking about Albert DeSalvo, the man who is at least thought of to be the Boston Strangler from 1962 to 1964. So, Chris, a pretty short window of time.
For as many victims as there was, definitely a short window. I mean,
13
working fast.
victims. I mean, holy
Yeah,
shit,
2
that's a
years,
lot.
You're killing at a good pace.
He is. And he's done other crimes and had been known to the police and the media as in Boston as the Measuring Man. That one cracked me up.
The Measuring Man.
The
Was
Measuring Man sounds like a superhero. You know, I'm Measuring Man. He's like a ruler.
No, my favorite is the Green Man. It makes me think of Charlie from fucking Always Sunny. Fucking
Oh yeah,
dude. When I saw the Green Man, I'm like,
or the Green Bastard.
fucking
Trailer Park Boys.
Boys.
The Stocking Strangler, the Green Man, Measuring Man, Boston Strangler. I mean, this guy had quite a few names. So it's going to be an interesting one. He was not even found guilty of any of the murders. No. And, of course, DNA, though, later would link him to one of the women that was raped and murdered. Really terrible. Yet, you know, he was suspected of a dozen more. So we really don't know. But we're just talking about things we've read and watched. And I learned quite a bit researching this. His childhood was absolutely fucking horrible. He led the life of a criminal with a very convincing gift of gab with the ladies. We'll talk about this piece of shit in detail, but Chris, I mean, how much did you know about the doubts that they had with DeSalvo in this case? I mean, is that something you knew a lot about?
No, not me personally. Like, I knew who, like, DeSalvo was in the Boston Strangler thing, and there was a...
Right.
Some people didn't think, but I didn't know a whole lot, so...
Yeah, I was
pretty
surprised. I didn't realize there was as much controversy about that. And Joey, you mentioned last week, you know, the kind of lore of the Boston Strangler growing up in Connecticut where you did, and it is funny. You grew up there. I grew up there. CK grew up there different times. But anyway, growing up in that part of the country, you know, anything that you want to kind of add to that since we're talking about DeSalvo tonight?
As far as my interest in true crime goes, I'd probably have to say the Boston Strangler is a huge part of the foundation for that. I was really into serial killers through the 90s, Dahmer and Gacy and them, but growing up on the East Coast, Boston Strangler, that was basically, back then, the American Jack the Ripper.
Right.
Because you didn't know who it was, for sure, you know, and there was this whole mystery about it. You didn't know if there were multiple people involved, like... It was just that super creepy tale of some actual murders that really happened there on the East Coast, you know, not far from where I lived, you know, we lived. And so, like you said, kind of like lore. It was almost like an urban legend. Yeah. And then later on, you know, the evidence comes out with the one with the DNA. And, you know, that was cool, but I don't know if it really takes away fully from the aura that...
Yeah, I think there's still a mystique about it since we don't really know. I mean, obviously he's not around to tell us.
Right.
So, and even if he was, who can you believe him? You know? That's the other part of this guy. Total bullshitter. So Albert DeSalvo, born in Chelsea, Massachusetts, which is right there by Boston, right, Joey?
Yeah, I think it's right on the outskirts.
1931. So he's born in 31. His father is Frank, is a complete piece of shit. I got to put him at the top of the list of shitty parents we've ever talked about.
He's up there
above Sugar Bear.
Oh, man.
Or Sugar Babe.
Yeah, I ain't even talking about that. Like, what about fucking... Henry Lee's mom, though.
Dude, I think this guy was worse than Henry Lee's mom.
I kind of think so, too.
I think Anthony Hopkins is still one of the worst parents
Anthony,
that we've done so far.
Yeah, I got to say
was pretty bad.
That's pretty bad.
He's pretty bad.
So this guy's a raging alcoholic. One of the worst pieces of shit I've ever read about. Raising kids to become serial killer 101 is this guy.
Yeah, he kind of teaches them crime in general.
I mean, it's just like the shit he did to these kids is so fucking beyond any comparison. Yeah. His mom, Charlotte, took a lot of this physical and mental abuse, you can only imagine. She actually came from a good family. Her father was an officer in the Boston Fire Department.
Right. Boston.
So that's cool.
Yep.
And some psychologists believe that he had a lot of issues with his mom, which is why he did what he did against motherly figures like older women. But we'll get to that as the story unfolds. And he does have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. And I don't think any of them were choking women out and killing them.
No, I think they were on TV talking about him and shit.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying they haven't had psychological issues, because for fuck's sake, I don't know how you wouldn't. Right. But what I'm saying, and I know that you guys understand me, is, you know, not everybody in that fucked up environment turns into that.
Exactly. No,
it's just like the perfect storm. Now, his father was arrested 18 times, so he was, again, Father of the Year. Earliest memories of childhood were of his dad beating up his mom. Witnessed his father bending her fingers back one at a time until they broke.
That's just
in front of the kids.
That's
fucked up.
Like, you can witness your father doing
that's like some
that.
Jack Bauer shit. You know, that's fucked up, man. He also... Albert watched his dad punch her in the face.
Knock her teeth out.
Yeah, knocked her teeth out. His father, now this is fucking crazy. Yeah. His father sold him and 2 sisters to a farmer in Maine for $9. How random and fucked up is that as a fact in a story that we're reading?
This is someone's
Have you ever
real
heard
life.
of some shit like that?
Yeah, this is motherfucker's real life. Me and my sister, $3 each. Go.
Yeah, if
what
if
the
I wrote a story, Chris, with that in there, you'd probably be like, dude, that's kind of
Yeah, that ain't
ridiculous. That doesn't
real,
even make
is
any
it?
sense.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Joey? I mean, what is the deal with that?
Yeah, that's some crazy shit.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, you got to think that had to be something like devious.
Yeah,
Super
and there's
devious.
there's no accountability of it. So you don't know. I've never seen or read
No.
anything, and I know
But-
Dr. Vronsky talks about it in his book.
Yeah.
That he really tried to find out, and like there's like nothing about
But
it.
I mean, in the shit that leads up to it, and then the shit that happens after that, you can only
Right.
determine
like
that
a sex type of thing.
I
yeah.
would think, yeah.
I would think so too.
That's
so
like
it's
Stone Temple
fucking
Pilots,
awful.
right?
It's awful.
A sex type thing.
Yeah.
Now his mom, to her credit, goes looking for him. Takes her 6 months to fucking find them. Gets them back home. Can't imagine that dinner table not being a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They now all of a sudden show back up again. There's accounts of the father forcing Albert and his other siblings to have sex with each other at like 5 and 6 years old.
It's
I mean,
fucking weird, dude.
what the fuck is the deal with that?
That's
I don't
like some
even
of the
understand what
grossest
you
shit
would do
ever.
that for unless he was getting off
Well,
on
obviously
watching
he was.
them
Why
fuck
wouldn't
each
he?
other.
That's why he did it, because he's fucked in the head.
That's fucked up, man. Now, this is like Henry Lee's mom. He would bring prostitutes home
Right.
and force the family to gather around and watch him
Right, yeah.
with the prostitute.
Well, hell
I mean,
yeah.
that's just fucking ridiculous. Fucking nasty. Now, Chris, we have covered some crazy sexual shit with these serial killers and how they were raised, but this one is just beyond anything I can even think of. Encouraging the kids to fuck each other. I mean, what the fuck, dude?
That's unheard of. Like, until I read about this and watched some documentaries, I'm like, wait, what the fuck did you just say?
Right. I
Like,
mean,
you dead. Yeah, but no, this is not a very good way to be raised at all. You're
No.
definitely not getting the nurture you need.
Right.
The fucking nothing,
yeah,
dude.
dad's arrested 18 times, so you got to figure he's in and out of jail. You know, it's like the Trailer Park Boys, you know,
Right.
once a year
Ricky's
going to
always in
jail.
Fuck yeah.
So, you know, that type of thing. So I don't know. It's just such a terrible story. Now, Albert would describe his mother as, quote, not a loving woman, unquote, and that she was, quote, out of the house most nights.
Probably hooking.
Probably. And that she was, quote, unable to stop the nightly beatings from his father, end quote. So definitely, you know, some harsh shit there. The author of the book, Frank Gerald, wrote that Albert was her favorite son and that he would visit her often as he was an adult. But I didn't find anything else that corroborated that, so I'm not sure. But the author of one of the books about him said that, so that's what he's claiming.
The thing with the fucking DeSalvo case, too, though, like the whole Boston Strangler thing, is because it happened so long ago and because it was so sensationalized,
Right.
there's a super massive game of Chinese phone or telephone going on.
Oh, yeah, for real.
So much stuff has been said, and you know this, that, and people
That's
have
true.
said. So it is hard to tell like what the exact, theories are or whatever that are closest to the truth. But
Right. And we also know DeSalvo is known to have been a liar.
exactly,
So
For sure.
make shit up, braggadocious type of guy. So now Albert felt isolated. We've talked about that before with serial killers.
Nobody fucking
Yeah.
can feel
Can't
what
fit
they're
in
feeling,
anywhere. Kind of isolated.
might as well chew on some eyeballs.
That's
Fucking
right. That's
man.
right. What the hell? Little salty. He said that he never allowed himself to get close to anyone, and he liked to hang out and sleep in the junkyard
Right.
to get away from everybody. And this dog he's talking about, Queenie, used to bite the other kids, but he would sleep next to her, and he
That's
never had a
fucking
problem.
sweet, dude.
That was
I
his
mean,
homie.
Right, hell yeah.
I'm
What's
thinking
wrong
of
with
that movie. What's the one with the kids with the baseball?
Chomper's sick balls. Oh no, Sandlot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm
Sandlot.
envisioning is like he's sleeping with a dog like that.
Right.
you know,
You got
that everybody's afraid of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's like all cool with the mean ass junkyard dog.
That's
so
fucking badass.
pretty fucking wicked.
That's living the life. You're out in the junkyard. Ain't none of the other kids fucking with you, bro.
That's true.
It's my bodyguard.
Queenie's here
son.
to fucking. Now, Joey, that's pretty bad though. When a mean junkyard dog is providing some comfort. I mean, this is a story of a kid raised in such a horrible fucking upbringing. It's unbelievable.
I mean, it comes to mind the joke tying a pork chop around your neck to get the dog to play with you, right? Because that's who he went to for his friend was a junkyard dog, and I mean, so the dog's like mean to everyone else except him. He's gotta fucking love that because that's the only fucking creature in the world that ever showed him any kind of fucking favoritism over
and didn't
anything
try
else.
to fuck him,
right? And and didn't try to fuck him. I'm sure he probably fucked the dog. You know what I'm saying?
He might have.
But you know what else? I mean, is a positive thing considering the fact that DeSalvo, if he was a serial killer or whatnot, is that he didn't kill the dog.
Right?
No, he cared for it.
Right? He kicked it with the dog, so that's at least one positive.
Yeah,
thing he did.
one positive little sliver of something. DeSalvo would later say that he was having steady sex at age 8 with girls and women. And he prostituted himself to homosexuals.
Goddamn, boy.
What, should we give this boy the luckiest boy in the world in the middle?
What are we trying to do?
He would go on to say that it was women that he wanted to be with the most.
He's like, Wilt Chamberlain, my ass. That's terrible.
He didn't care what they looked like or how old they were. Didn't give a fuck. He wasn't picky, and by the way, he carried out his crimes often on older women. So
He didn't give a shit.
he didn't care. He also would say that he tortured animals when he was younger. And so there's another one of those things
That's
we
what
hear
I'm
a
saying.
lot
The
about.
junkyard dog must have meant a lot to him.
Right.
Yeah, he ain't fucking trying
he
to
wasn't
kill it.
torturing that.
If that dog didn't, if it was like nice to the other kids, he would have killed the shit out of it.
You know he
Right,
would have murdered
totally,
that fucking dog.
totally.
If he was the only one that fucking didn't like
He would
it.
have been the original Son of Sam. Remember that he's a known bullshitter, so, it's hard to say what the fuck to believe with this guy. He starts stealing, winds up getting a burglary charge and sent to the Lyman School for Boys, which is a reformatory in Boston. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's where Babe Ruth was. No, he was in Baltimore. But the name of the school was very similar to
close, yeah.
where Babe Ruth was, which was a similar, a reformatory for boys. But anyway, he's in Boston, Lyman School for Boys, 93 IQ, which is low average. DeSalvo would talk about all the things he learned of sexual perversion while he was there and also how to steal without getting caught. So, Chris, learning from the cons.
Got to learn from the best, man. Like Cash said, you learn how to be a criminal more, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And, we've heard stuff like that before from Henry Lee Lucas. I know Charles Manson talked about how awful the early reformatories were that he was in. He was raped. I mean, really bad shit. Carl Panzram talks about that really big time. And Ed Kemper also, just watching a doc on him earlier, talking about his time when after he killed his grandparents, those 5 years he was in that mental hospital. And he learned some awful shit there and learned how to kind of refine and manipulate. And, of course, he had access to patient files. So he knew how to talk his way to thinking that he was cured.
Yeah, the fact he's
very
going
smart.
through the files, like, holy shit. Yeah.
And that's why I used that in my short story, The Eyes Have It, that he outsmarted the psychologist by doing the same thing. Now, Chris, oftentimes these reformatories are like the minor leagues for criminals. He learned some bad shit there. So.
I don't think it's the minor leagues, though. I think it's, man,
like right
it's
up
like
there?
It's like you know how there's the XFL instead of the NFL?
Oh, okay.
It's like the XBA, Extreme Baseball Association. I don't know, because these guys know what they're doing already. So once you go in there, it's more like a learning camp, like we were saying, dude.
Right.
Like, that's what it is right there.
Yeah, because you're around people that have been doing this shit all their lives. Now, once he gets out of Lyman, DeSalvo goes out and commits a series of burglaries.
Right off the bat.
Right out of the
Instantly.
bat. Yeah. How much it excited him to break into people's houses. He would talk about that. Said he would get an erection just going into a woman's bedroom, whether she was sleeping or not. He loved to hear them breathing on the other side of the door, so creepy as fuck. breaking into homes while the women are sleeping, just like the shit like that you see like in a fucking nightmare, just creepy as shit.
Oh, it's a nightmare for people.
Yeah. He did okay in school by just kind of bullshitting his way along. He did have a lot of health problems, though, as a kid. I saw some stuff about tonsillitis.
Probably because he was getting fucked by older men. Since
That's
he was
very
8.
possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
no wonder why he had fucking tonsillitis. What the hell they call that shit? I can't think of it. Oh, a fucking yeast infection.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He missed a lot of school. Left back a few times, was put in special ed classes starting in 5th grade. But he starts working as a dishwasher in Cape Cod, but spent his free time on a roof watching women
He's up
through
there
their window.
checking it out. He's got the fucking lawn chair out, cool,
Yeah.
full of beer, binoculars.
all about it.
Fucking, it's like, this is the life.
Yeah, he thought he was the shit, man. We talk about that with, Richard Ramirez, with the peeping Tom thing. So DeSalvo's starting to show that kind of shit. So Joey, this guy is checking the fucking boxes when it comes to how to make a serial killer.
Yeah.
Just add water, and this dude
Right.
is raping and killing motherfuckers.
He's ready, man. He's ready to go on a rampage.
Yeah, it's like as setting the table as you possibly could
Yeah.
to talk about this guy.
Now he's going to try to go away and fucking get his mind occupied on the military.
Right. So he does for a short period of time kind of get his shit together. 1948, he enlists in the Army at age 17. He's sent to Germany. We just talked about Germany before with some drinking issues. So it sounds like a place to go to get your shit all fucked up.
That's the best place to get deployed, they say. That's the party country to get
Yeah,
deployed.
I've always heard of guys that say, anything out of the U.S., Germany's where you want to go. So he's over there getting fucked up, and he's in the Army, but amazingly, he does really good as a military policeman, and he rises to the rank of sergeant, which isn't easy to do. He even gets into boxing, becomes the Army's middleweight champ of Europe 2 times. That's amazing. And he claimed to have sex with the wives of the officers. So again, with this
Like,
guy
yeah, I was fucking.
bullshitting.
I was over there kicking ass and fucking.
But we do know that DeSalvo was, known to fucking fabricate things. So we don't know.
But also, he did talk his way into a lot of women's homes, so.
He
did do that.
So it's very possible. Now, he gets married to a German girl, Irmgard. That's about as unattractive a name as I think I've heard. In 1953.
If you're German, it's probably super attractive.
Probably, but to me, it's just a weird name. So Irmgard and him get married 1953. Things don't go real well, though. Guys, she's a little prudish, and he's a fucking sex maniac.
Yeah.
5 to 6 times a
He's
day,
just straight
man.
jerking off all the time and shit, dude.
God
Cum
damn.
everywhere.
It's like, man, you've been getting fucked since you were 8, and you're just not tired of it yet.
I know.
Dude.
Wouldn't just the thought of it like make you just go, can't we just watch
Yeah.
Netflix and chill?
Like, oh, you're a prude and you don't want to do anything? Thank God.
yeah, right? My shit is chafed like a motherfucker.
Also, I have every disease ever in my mouth and dick.
And my anus, yes.
And my anus.
So, yeah. So she's
On
not
my
having
feet.
any part of it. So, like you said, Chris, he's just jacking off every fucking chance he gets.
Cum everywhere.
I mean, not to mention, you got to think he was probably had some bullshit on the side too.
He had
Prostitutes
to
or
have.
just
Had to have.
skanks from the
A
bar.
guy like this just
No, he
can't fucking
did.
do it, man.
He wasn't a faithful motherfucker at all.
No.
Obviously.
They moved back to the U.S. He's stationed at Fort Dix, New Jersey. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
He starts doing some fucked up shit. He gets in trouble going up to a woman's house and trying to attack her. She locks herself in a room and calls the military police with his license plate number. And since he didn't really do anything, there wasn't really much they could do other than warn him to stop,
Like, hey, quit, motherfucker.
which is pretty fucked up. I mean, you'd think they could do something if he had her, locked in a fucking room and freaking the fuck out.
Groping on her and
That's pretty
shit,
scary,
forcefully.
man.
Yeah, fuck that. You should be able to do
But it's a
something.
different time. The police looked at
the
this
50s,
stuff
man.
differently. 1953, a woman goes into a grocery store, leaves with her kids. A 9-year-old girl and 2 younger brothers are left at home. So, again, another time.
Yeah,
like
that
nowadays,
was-
she'd have gone to jail for leaving a 9-year-old and 2 kids home alone while she goes to the grocery store, but it's 1953.
And people did that because it was safe.
Yeah, it was safe. Yeah, exactly. Air quotes.
Not when you got fucking DeSalvo running around.
Right, exactly. This fucking jerking off fucking machine.
Jerking off machine.
They told her mom that a soldier came by and asked for the rent, which is kind of odd because they own the house.
The fucking house, yeah.
So that sounded strange, but he wasn't in a uniform. The girl told the police the soldier had touched her chest and her privates. So again, this girl's 9 years old. That's fucked. The police know about DeSalvo from that recent issue, so they were able to figure out, it was him. They charge him with carnal abuse of a child, and he was released on bond.
Yeah, I'd be like, wait, you're letting him go out for what? How much did it cost?
Yeah, it wasn't that much.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't. The charges are dropped when the woman refuses to put her daughter through a trial.
And I get that.
So, yeah, Chris, I mean, this dude is ramping it up, like we talked about, kind of setting the table for an onslaught of fucking brutality.
He's definitely pushing his limits. I mean, you walking up to a person's house and just touch them like that. A little girl, for one, let alone a grown woman, but a little girl, for one. Like, the only reason he left, I guess, is because her little brother came running out seeing what was going on. It freaked him out, so he thought other people were there or whatever.
Right.
But, yeah, he's about ready to fucking blow his shit up, and it's not going to be good for a lot of people.
No, it's pretty bad stuff. So while all this is going on, in DeSalvo's other life, I know we talk about with BTK when we had Dr. Ramsland on talking about his theory of cubing
right.
where he was able to kind of show different faces in different parts of his life and act completely normal. And DeSalvo does that to some extent. He's got a baby girl now. Her name is Judy. She's born with a deformity that required her to wear braces on her legs. So, that's got to be a tough, thing to deal with, obviously, as a parent. Right. But he was supposed to be really good with her. He would help massage her legs. He would make the braces look better. He would paint them and put bows on them.
Bows.
Of course, the bow thing is going to be part of the story as we go, so keep that in mind.
Murder.
But we've seen this Jekyll and Hyde thing with these serial killers, BTK, Jesperson, they're good dads, but they're just fucked up,
individuals,
people,
yeah.
It's just
that ain't
weird.
Fucking good.
Now, the birth of Judy, DeSalvo wife resists him even more. So as if he wasn't already having problems, Chris.
Yeah, she didn't
getting pussy. She doesn't want to give it up even more now because she's afraid.
She's afraid they're going
to have another
child
with problems.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is not going to make him happy at all either. So he's just going to make his sex drive even more out of control and do what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, he would write to her and say that she was frigid and cold to him during that time. So he was very bitter about it. He gets out of the Army, though, in 1956. I'm not sure if it was an honorable discharge. I read one account where they said right in the article that they weren't sure under what circumstances, whether it was because he was just done or whether they kicked him out. Don't know. But I never saw anything negative about his military career.
I think I seen somewhere it was honorable.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it because it seemed like he was a really good soldier. They moved back to Chelsea in Massachusetts. They have a son, Michael, and Albert takes a job as a shipyard laborer to support the family. So he's trying to make it work. Joey sounds like he's having a lot of issues with relationships with women, like his own mother, and of course from his wife Irmgard. So
right, and I mean you gotta think that he's with a woman who's not satisfying his needs what he needs.
Right.
There's nothing good that can come out of that.
No,
you're
not
not gonna be happy together. If this dude's a sex maniac and shit.
Right.
This guy basically should have just went and married a fucking prostitute.
Right. She just been a pimp.
He would have been better off
Yeah.
doing that.
He would have been better off if he was just a pimp and got his own bitches. And, okay, you go fuck. I'm done with you.
And I mean, he had a lot of issues himself, and fucking had so many interactions with the law already. this is a long time ago, so things got swept under the rug a lot more, which is unfortunate.
Right.
Because his aggressiveness and his fucking impulsive violence was just rising through all this. And unfortunately, with a frigid wife that wasn't giving what he wants, he's fucking mad at home. He's going to take that out there with him during his
Use
crimes.
that anger, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So he is committing a series of sex offenses that are almost comical. In 1960, around Cambridge, Massachusetts, which is, of course, where Harvard is, he would often claim that he enjoyed outsmarting the college women in that area. He had a thing about women who he thought looked down on him as being uneducated, as dumb, poor, whatever. This is where the Measuring Man name would come to pass. This is such a Crazy Mike thing. This should have been Crazy Mike out there measuring women, because this would have been his thing. He also has a gift of gab and an ability to work his way in with women. So Crazy Mike could have been the Boston Strangler if he was younger. He was going door to door telling young women that he was a talent scout for a modeling agency and that he needed to measure them. And a lot of these women are falling for it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, for sure, especially back then, dude.
Yeah,
Like, even now, dude.
They find it flattering. Hey, I think you're, very beautiful. Maybe you could be a model. Let me get some
Just
measurements.
straight, I'm a door-to-door model salesman. buyer.
Right?
I used I can't remember which documentary about him it was, but I used a sample in one song. They're like, I'll give you $10 for a picture and $20 for shoulders. And you take your clothes off, you can get all the way up to $50. It's just such a good sample. But that shit was for real, and then them housewives were like, fuck, that's some good money.
Exactly. So, it reminded me, though, of Crazy Mike with the naked pictures. So, DeSalvo would say that he loved tricking the college-educated women and that it would, was good to let them know that he was just as good as them. So, police are getting complaints about him doing this and giving the name the Measuring Man. So, that's how he gets his nickname. He gets busted committing a burglary and other petty crimes, winds up getting 18 months in prison. But he gets out in 11 for good behavior. So, Chris, the Measuring Man thing is just pretty fucking devious because you're tricking these women.
Now, you think about it, it's not funny because he's
It's awful.
The fact that somebody thinks that, like, hey, how do I fucking get to just go grope random women?
Right.
Like, I could be a fucking model scout. The thought that somebody thinks of that is fucked up.
It is fucked up. And imagine how many times he did it. He had the shtick down pretty good.
Yeah, and the fact that it worked so many times is what's even more fucked up.
Right.
But
I know.
It's
funny, but it's not. It's just so fucking
works,
warped.
If it works, it works.
Bundy with the cast,
it fucking worked, man.
So he's doing his thing. 1962, though, he tells his wife he's going fishing. I don't think he's going
fishing.
He ends up in an apartment complex. He's pretty devious, man. He sees there's construction going on there. So he starts ringing the apartments where he shows just a woman's name there at the buzzer. And he gets Anna Slessers, this 55-year-old woman. She's waiting on her son to come pick her up. She's getting ready to go out with her son. And she thinks he needs to look at some work because there's all this shit going on at the apartment. Scaffolding and all this stuff. So you're okay.
I think it was.
I need to come in and look at something. Okay. Yeah. So she lets him in, and her body's found in the hallway of her bathroom. Her robe is open, exposing her naked body. Legs are spread. She's strangled with the belt from her robe, which is tied in a knot around her neck. Now, Chris,
and the bow,
what were we just talking about that with the bow?
Yeah, on the daughter's leg braces, they tied the bows on there. And
that's
shit.
right. So that's kind of an interesting thing here with this. That's one of the things the police felt tied it in.
To tie bows to make the women look pretty.
That's right. That's right. This would be his calling card. Rookie detective Phil DiNatale was on the scene and would lead the investigation to find the Strangler. I did see the cops messed with him. He was a rookie, and they were trying to catch this purse snatcher in Boston, and he was told he was heading the investigation. and it was so they had to dress up like women to get the purse snatcher to steal their purse,
Right.
like an undercover thing. And he wound up catching him like the first night, but it was just funny because they were messing with him. So I think they figured, he's never going to be able to figure this out, and it'll just be a good way for him to skin his knees a little bit. But Joey, that's fucked up about the whole tie-in, the bow thing. And some would say he did that, since he did it for the daughter's knee braces, it was an indication, that he actually did the Strangler murders. What do you think? Is it pretty coincidental?
Yeah, it's a pretty good calling card. At the same time, I don't know how reliable it is because it's like any of them could have been tying the bows. And
yeah, but it is odd,
then.
though. I've never heard
totally
that
is.
one before.
No, totally is. But, it's just like back then, especially they're trying to find anything to connect anything. They're like, oh, well, he did this, and then this was done. So
right.
It's just so hard to tell, and that's, part of the mystery behind it still to this day.
Right.
DNA may have figured out a few things, but like a lot of these, like
the
coincidental situations.
Yeah, it's very circumstantial, but I think it's really an odd thing that I think, to me, definitely makes me lean the way that I think he did this.
Yeah, I've always, after all this came out, I'm pretty much been under the guys that's exactly the culprit right there.
Right.
If he didn't do exactly everything they said, he probably did most of it. I mean, it is hard to tell, but I've always said DeSalvo is probably the Boston Strangler.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, DeSalvo would prove to be what they would refer to as a mixed personality killer. According to Dr. Peter Vronsky, we've talked with Peter before. We interviewed him. He's got the book. I mention it all the time, Serial Killers, The Method and Madness of Monsters. He's got a whole section on DeSalvo, very interesting. He was organized in the way that he would wear gloves. He was good at covering up the crimes, did not leave clues behind for the time. Of course, DNA would get him later, but
at that time, yeah.
But at that time, he was covering his tracks really well. There were no witnesses. Nobody heard anybody screaming, nothing like that. But very disorganized in the way the victims were somewhat random, and that he wouldn't bring any weapons with him. He was just using whatever he had there.
But at the same time, even though it's a little disorganized, those are two exact reasons why you can get away with some of this stuff, because you're not leaving any connection to yourself.
Right.
You're picking a random person, using whatever's on hand, leaving it.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Now, I never saw that he had anything, but I would imagine that he probably kept trophies of some sort.
I'm guessing that too. That's
Especially
funny
he
you
was
say
a
that, because
fucking-
I wondered that he
and he was a burglar.
pair
anyway.
of panties or something like that. Hard to say. He often used, whatever was there, their own stockings he would use to strangle them. Usually they were found knotted together and tied in a bow. So again, his calling card. Now, 2 weeks later, he would kill again, this time an 85-year-old woman. Jesus God. He tricked her into saying he was at her apartment to do some work, and then, of course, he gets from behind her, he strangles her. Now, this victim, I believe this is the one that they thought died of natural causes.
At first.
Because they didn't find the body for a while, so there was nothing obvious that she was strangled. It's an 85-year-old woman. They figured it was just natural causes at first, but they figure it out later. 2 days later, he kills again.
On that mission.
So not any real cooling off period. Man.
He's happy about it.
Oh, yeah.
This killing and fucking sex is the best thing in the world to him right now.
Yeah,
nothing better.
And he's really cocky about it. The killer was still defying the police. No clues left behind. That rookie detective is just, he's just doing as much as he can. His son that was interviewed on that Reels special I watched was really good. He talks about how his dad was just obsessed. He was just really consumed by it, and he was so upset that he couldn't catch him. Right. Really bothered him. Because all these women are in this same neighborhood, so they all know each other. It's fucked up. Now, there were 6 more murders in 1962 after the first 2, so that's 8 in 1 year, all very much the same, strangled with nylon stockings and tying the bow around the neck. Some were displayed with their legs open, but there was one victim, he felt sorry for her, so he was nice After he raped and strangled her, he covered her up with bed sheets. So
He was a good guy.
a little more respectful to her. What a fucking piece of shit.
He was a good guy.
Yeah. One victim was killed and then moved to the bathtub or face down in the water in a kneeling position. In 2 months, though, he killed 6 women, and one even used a wine bottle to rape her with. So, I mean, my God. Chris, I mean, the murder of Sophie Clark was the one that really changed it up.
Yeah, that's the one that makes you think, was that him? But
Right. What was different about her?
She was, instead of an older lady, she was 20 years old, and she was black and not white.
Right.
And it was really weird that the whole MO of the fucking victim changed. So
Right.
Is it
very rare for a sex killer to cross into different racial lines like that? Not unheard of, but not common. I heard, too, that she was attacked while she was writing a letter to her boyfriend. She was a nurse. Just a really sad story. But that one, Chris, changed it up because now they're starting to wonder, is this the same
person?
guy?
Yeah, is this more than one person? Because they did think that for a while. But
Yeah.
which still could have been.
Right.
Absolutely.
Joey, I mean, that they do think it could be more than one. I mean, the fact that he's doing, the different methods too, strangulation, stabbing,
Right.
Bludgeoning, beating. I could see where they would think it could be more than one.
Yeah, and I think if I don't think DeSalvo was working with anybody through any of this.
I don't think so either.
From any accounts I saw, he seemed to be more of a loner and would do shit on his own. But
Right.
I'm not ruling out the fact that maybe back then there was a possibility.
Like a copycat?
Yeah, one or two of them could have been a copycat.
I was thinking
situation.
that.
I could see that too. I'd be willing to say one or two, but I think he
Yeah.
did, if not all, a majority
Obviously,
of these.
there's a ton of fucking, stuff written about the Boston Strangler or podcast. There's a ton of stuff you can see out there. So if you start looking at it, you can see how some of the crimes, the differences in them, and it does make you think, and how some of them are like super close to being the exact same kind of MO, which would make a lot more sense that they were all his. But
Right.
as we know, I mean, every now and then they do change and alter.
They
the
do.
things
It's
they
not
do.
always the same. It's not always the same. Now, 1963, DeSalvo continues with his crimes. He's getting more violent. He beats one woman to death with a piece of a brass pipe, stabbed her in the breast with a fork. I mean, he's getting really fucking brutal. He also, she bites him severely in the finger, which is maybe why he raged the fuck out. I don't know. May of 1963, he attacks a woman who's partially deaf, and this one is weird because she negotiates with him of what she's willing to let him do to her sexually, but she didn't want to have intercourse. But he said she reminded him of his wife and how she would refuse sex, so he stabbed her 22 times.
That's because he wanted to do that to his wife.
Right.
That's why he did that.
Yeah, it's fucked up. The media is going crazy with this story. Of course, these victims are all in the same area. The police don't have anything to go on. Detective DiNatale is, doing everything he can. He's a rookie, but man, he's just got nothing to go on. Gotta be fucking frustrating. On that one special, that real special, there's audio of him talking about this, and it's just like, man, he said, I had to talk to every garbage collector in Boston if they thought they knew something.
Right.
He goes, I talked to anybody. I was trying to
so
find
hard,
information. September 1963, he was asked by one victim if he was the Boston Strangler. I thought that was funny. She told him that she was not well to have intercourse. So I'm guessing that translates to she's on the rag or some sort of womanly issue.
Right.
So he puts a pillow down on the floor and has her perform oral sex on him. He ties her up, puts her panties in her mouth, and smothered her with a pillow.
That's what happens, man.
I guess. He takes 2 black nylon stockings from her drawer, ties them in a bow around her neck. He spreads her legs and tied another stocking around her ankle, also in a bow. Women are freaking the fuck out for obvious reasons. They're sleeping with fucking baseball bats. I saw ski poles. There was one woman.
Do whatever you want. Stab a motherfucker with that.
That's a brutal way.
Oh yeah, bottles. We heard about that with the Golden State Killer with the bottles by the the windows and the doors as like an alarm.
It gets knocked over and
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
So, and I think who else did we do that like offered that advice?
I can't remember that. Somebody
Was that Rolling? I think it might have been.
It might have been. He had like a whole fucking list of things that you should do.
Like things they should do.
prevent
Yeah,
serial
something
killer
like
from killing
that.
you.
Yeah, I think it might have been Rolling. But
Serial killer classes.
yeah, like how to avoid becoming a victim and
Right.
being on a podcast. So alarms, they're putting alarms in their houses. Dogs are being fucking adopted
Guns are
from
being
the
bought
pound.
like a motherfucker.
Guns. The media is going crazy. The police are getting major pressure. And Chris, this dude is absolutely going berserker mode now. He is killing a lot of women in a short period of time. I mean, goddamn. Average like one a month.
I mean, one a month isn't that bad, dude. It's not like he's overdosing on murder. Shit. Fuck, dude. But yeah,
Go pay the rent, kill somebody.
right.
Just keep it on track.
It's just another bill, dude. Come on. Got to keep it on the cycle. I got to keep caught up.
Right.
But
Is
no.
it by the 15th or the 28th?
Man, as long as it's during the month, like you could do one on the 31st and one on the
Okay.
1st, and you're good for like.
I got you.
But yeah, no, fucking for real. He is going somewhere with this like out of control style for real though.
Yeah. January 1964, he kills his last victim, his youngest, 19-year-old Mary Sullivan. She's found on her bed with semen dripping from her mouth and a broomstick next to her that had been used to rape her with. He also used a stocking and a scarf to tie a bow around her neck and placed a card near her foot that said Happy New Year. What the fuck? Her nephew, Casey Sherman, would later become a true crime author. He was on that real special I watched, and pretty interesting to hear his take. Gets a little choked up.
Yeah.
It's his aunt. I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty fucked up, especially what he did to her, Joey.
Right.
That one, awfully fucking brutal, man.
That one, unfortunately, like, not to be that guy, but you can find images of that on the internet.
Oh, really?
Of her corpse with the broomstick.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crime scene photos actually from some of the Boston Strangler cases. That you can find a lot of black and whites and
Right.
but pretty interesting stuff. Like I said, I hate to be that guy, but
No, I
it is
understand.
part of the story, and it is interesting
It
that they
is.
have so much about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can't imagine these people, these family members, knowing
Yeah.
that your family can forever be Googled like
Right.
that.
like we talk about
that
that
is
shit too,
awful, dude.
pertaining to like the murderabilia or even us
Right.
doing a podcast and keep to bring it back up. you
Right.
know? It's
I
like
know.
stabbing a knife in somebody's heart, but at the same time, without the knowledge and the education, you should let that be. I think.
I think so too, because maybe it would make somebody think twice about leaving
Right.
a window open,
Exactly.
living on a first floor apartment. You know what I mean?
Just because you're paranoid, don't mean they're not after you.
That's right. That's right. So definitely, makes you think. Detective DiNatale was troubled, of course, with this. It's going unsolved. He has a fucking heart attack. He's pretty young.
Yeah.
He keeps going, does not give up. While he's recovering in the hospital, he asks them about Sophie Clark because he remembered she was a nurse at that hospital. So he starts asking nurses questions, and he's getting some really weird reactions. And he winds up finding out that several nurses there claim that they had been raped by this dude that looked like DeSalvo. So now he starts checking out DeSalvo, sees he's got this extensive record, definitely some questions. He goes to his boss, and they fucking blow it off.
Yeah.
And don't support him at all, but he
That's
doesn't
weak.
give up.
No support.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. He keeps going. He just does not give up.
I think it's fucked up that the fact that they're looking so hard to find somebody to fucking on these crimes, and he's got somebody. And
Yeah.
he's like, hey, whatever.
Right. I know. It's crazy. I don't understand it either. So now DeSalvo was done with the Boston Strangler murders. So now he moves into his final phase. So he starts out as the measuring man.
Yeah.
Then he's the Boston Strangler. Now, Joey, he is what?
The Green Man.
The Green Man. And why does he, Chris, why do they call him the Green Man?
You know what? Because he liked to wear green pants and shirts.
like
every
a
time
work
he did-
uniform.
Yeah, uniform,
Yeah, to make him look like a maintenance guy, right? Shows up to the
Yeah,
apartment.
he's like, I need to fucking do some painting in your kitchen. The landlord sent me. I got to do this.
Right.
And
Or he was
always
smart.
in green, though.
He would and he would go to these places where he saw construction going on, so it would seem more believable that he was there to do something.
Some kind of maintenance shit.
Right.
Way back in New York, Albert Fish wearing the fucking coveralls.
Right. The painting clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gray man, yeah.
Yeah. So, he would wear green. He makes himself look like a maintenance guy, gets in these apartments. He ties them up. He did not rape them, though, as the green man, which is strange. He does ejaculate. He apologizes to the victim.
That's fucked up.
But he leaves. And I don't know if he leaves them tied up. Sorry.
Come. What?
I mean, that's just fucked up.
He's like, man, I know that this is really fucked up, but what I was doing 6 months ago,
Yeah.
you're way better.
Consider
lucky.
yourself fucking lucky,
Yeah,
huh?
exactly, dude.
Yeah,
For real.
you got to fucking, you win the fucking prize. You had to watch me jerk off. This would go on, though, for 11 months, man. Jesus Christ. Joey, this guy reminds me, though, of the Golden State Killer, how he keeps changing it up. The Golden State Killer was the North area rapist and went through or East area rapist, went through these different phases. He was the Night Stalker for a while.
Yeah.
Then, of course, ends up as the Golden State Killer. But this one reminds me of that.
Yeah, I agree, and the similarity is definitely there in that aspect. The difference between those two is that Golden State Killer did this over such a fucking long period of time that, of course, things had to change or morph.
Oh, sure.
Boston Strangler did this shit within like 2 years.
Couple years, 2 years.
Jesus
and he just
Christ.
changed it up
Yeah.
like go.
Yeah, it was crazy, but you're right. The Golden State was much longer period of time.
Yeah, it was like he took
and
Golden
he was a
State on
cop,
steroids.
so he had that angle going
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
November 1963, DeSalvo was identified by one of the victims when she saw his mugshot. He's arrested. He's held at the Bridgewater Mental Hospital. The police had no idea, though, that they had the Boston Strangler, which is crazy. But by the spring of 65, he would begin making his confession of the Strangler murders while he's in the hospital. He has this photographic memory of these crime scenes.
I've seen that, and like they did tests on him about that photo memory and shit. Like
They did.
What was the one that I was listening to? They fucking did some kind of thing where they sat all these people in a room one day, and then they asked them the next day when they were all different where they were, and kind of pretty much said the exact same shit.
Yeah, he did. Exactly. I think even what they were wearing, too, pretty amazing. So he tells them that there was a tampon under the chair during the Sophie Clark murder because he said he pulled it out of her and threw it under the chair.
That's fucking gross.
It is fucking gross.
He should have chewed on it.
He should have. That would have
also-
been better. He threw that, wasted that, and threw it on the floor, bro.
He also recalled what type of cigarettes were found at one of the crime scenes. Somehow,
The pack that fucking he
fell
knocked off
behind
the counter. He said where they were. Yep.
yeah. Somehow he manages to escape the hospital with two other inmates, but then turns himself back in 3 days later. They send his ass to the maximum security joint.
Yeah, well, I mean, you broke out once. Guess
Right.
where you're not
Come on,
going back to,
motherfucker.
dude.
Yeah. We're not sending you back to that hospital. You're going to prison. 1967, he makes a deal with the police to plead guilty to the Green Man rapes, and he gets a life sentence. He's accepting of that as long as they don't charge him with any of the Boston Strangler murders because he didn't want to be executed.
Right.
That's fucking crazy, though. But they didn't have any like major real physical evidence, right? Did they?
I don't really know. Like back then, I don't think he had no fucking fingerprints. There wasn't DNA at that time.
Right.
They had a couple witnesses to go off of, but I don't know how strong those cases
Yeah,
were.
that's true. I mean, they may not have been able to do it, but if he confessed, then of course.
But
they
you
would
know,
have
one
that.
thing that was a fact
wanted
that
to be
after he was
famous.
in jail, it all stopped.
Exactly. That is
It did.
exactly.
That is a big
100%.
one.
That was one of the things I was going to mention too. Like after he got busted, it never happened like that again.
Right. Unless it was a person that was smart enough to not do it anymore. But
Like,
if they're
hey,
Like,
but I
hey,
could take over.
guess
But
what? I'm going to do something totally different.
but
now.
if they're like that, can they just stop? Unless the dude like moved to San Francisco or something and became the Zodiac. I don't know.
right.
So but many in the Boston Police Department and the local media were doubtful that it was DeSalvo because, again, he's never charged with these 13 murders.
Never. Like, it's technically still an unsolved murder.
That's correct. Right? Yeah. So they didn't believe he was the killer. Not all of them. Some of them didn't. And they gave Di Natale a hard time, that detective. Plus, some of the details were off about the crime scenes. However, with 13 of them, I mean, you know, I know damn well I couldn't fucking remember shit like he could.
Yeah,
so
fucking right.
I don't know. But again, the guy's a bullshitter. You don't know what his angle was. I also read that he was trying to sell his story because back then you could.
Yeah.
And that was another thing about him. Detective Di Natale was accused to have, you know, just blamed it on DeSalvo just to solve
just to
it.
Close the cases.
But like you said, Joey, the crime stopped.
Yeah.
And he gets F. Lee Bailey.
Maybe it was
of OJ fame.
Maybe it was the detective that was doing the murders.
It's very possible, like a Dexter.
I got a scapegoat.
Right. F. Lee Bailey, of course, is his lawyer. We all know him from the O.J. Simpson case and other famous cases. Bailey does not allow Di Natale to talk to DeSalvo, and so this had to be incredibly frustrating. But Chris, I mean, what do you think? I mean, do you think DeSalvo did the 13 murders?
I
I know we're just guessing.
No. I would say that he probably did. I think, like Cashman said earlier, I think he's, except for the 20-year-old girl. Other than that one, I think that was just somebody else. Like, can I make it look like that enough to where it looks like him and I can get away with it? So, like, I think he did most of them. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree. Joey, what about you?
I'm pretty much in that circle, you know.
Yeah.
He might have done all of them.
He might have done all of them. I'm not saying he didn't.
Yeah, I'm leaning toward he did all of them, but I wouldn't be shocked if a couple of them maybe were knockoffs.
The thing is, like, and I've said this with Gacy too before when we talked and other ones, but he gave details in statements that only you can know if you
were one of the detectives, like a lot.
Right. And I get it, like there's like fucking, you know, a track that the law has to go through and everything else in the fucking detectives, but I mean, when people say shit like that, I just don't forget it.
Right.
It's like, you just gave some fucking straight up knowledge on this fucking crime.
But I did see something somewhere or read something somewhere where somebody called into question the fact that he was being led.
Which
now, see, if that was one of those, like, wasn't that Pall Mall cigarettes you found under the dresser?
And it was the
especially
wrong,
back
you know,
then, because
or
you're not
whatever.
seeing fucking video of the interrogation or anything.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, there is
Of
no
course.
video of that interrogation.
So we don't know. That's the
absolutely
thing.
not.
There's a lot of unknowns with this. Now, November 1973, this is very strange. DeSalvo had told the prison psychiatrist that he really needed to see him. So Dr. Roby, he was interviewed on that special too, said he really needed to see him urgently. So the doctor sets up an appointment for the following morning. But before he could even see him, DeSalvo is fucking shanked in his fucking cell, in the heart, fucking DOA, Chris. So.
Yeah, killed, like, they got pissed. Nobody in there liked him. He's like, you killed all these old ladies and
right,
you don't give a fuck. You'd do it. You'd still be doing it if he was out there. Fuck
right.
you.
The murder is never solved, and you know, no wonder. You know, makes you wonder what was the urgent thing he needed to see that doctor about. I also watched a documentary that mentioned DeSalvo's involvement with the sale of amphetamines in the prison.
I did see that. So he's selling it cheaper than
so he could have pissed somebody off that you know, one of the gangs that's selling drugs in the prison. It's
like,
hard to say. Could it be a debt? You know, who knows, right? They say a member of the Winter Hill gang was suspected of the murder but never charged. And I'm sure, you know, like we've been saying, nobody's really too upset that a piece of shit like this gets stabbed to death in his cell.
Yeah, not really.
You know? So I think especially back then, they would have been like, gee, tisk, tisk, you know, big fucking deal. DeSalvo would also say he wanted to confess his crimes, to the crimes earlier, but his wife threatened to kill herself and the kids if he did. She winds up divorcing him, and they change their name and move away. So that's a good thing.
Before the fucking trial and shit, didn't they? Like, I think the lawyer was just straight up like, get the fuck out of here.
Right? Now, Joey, DNA would actually solve one of these cases, of course, many years later. But
yeah, Mary Sullivan, it was almost 40 years after the fact. But
yeah.
They had a blanket that they had kept in the evidence
right.
that contained, the stains on it that they were able to extract and use.
Right.
Which we know, I mean, I can't remember exactly when they did it, but it was kind of whenever DNA was really new, too.
Right.
Yeah, like in the earlier days of DNA we got now.
Now, like, they go back and they fucking find DNA and all kinds of shit, But back then, it was so fucking lucky the fact they even had that blanket that had that much of a sample.
Right.
Because they used to back then, they needed way more of a large area.
Right. They couldn't use just a drop or whatever.
Exactly. So, no, it kind of worked out. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I mean, that's one family, whoever Mary Sullivan's family, that they
that's the one whose nephew was the true crime author, the last victim, the 19-year-old. So that's good that they solved it. They matched his DNA by using his nephew was at a construction site drinking a water bottle, threw it in the garbage. They grabbed it, tested it, knew it was him, but needed 100% confirmation, so they exhume his body and they get some of his femur, I think, and they test it, and it's 100% match. So,
boom.
They knew it was him. So he definitely killed Sullivan. It does seem like one person did the crimes, but DeSalvo was a bullshitter. We've seen that with Henry Lee Lucas, Pee Wee Gaskins. They, sometimes admit stuff to make himself seem like more of a badass to the rest of the guys in the prison. There was a guy who was his cellmate. This is kind of interesting. George Nasser, who was, I think, like a mob killer.
Yeah,
like
they put like two fucking murderers together.
Yeah, what the fuck with that?
I know.
Some, wondered if he was part of it, but DNA never linked him to any of the murders. So you makes you wonder.
That would have been fucked up if they were cellmates and they were a tag team in murders.
Yeah, that would have been fucked up.
That would be pretty fucked.
Yeah.
Like, before the fact. After the fact, you never know, because, like, fucking, that's where Henry Leonidas met was.
Well, no. I'm saying if they were a tag team before and then nobody knew that they were a tag team.
Didn't fucking Leonard Lake and Ing, they met in jail, too.
No, they
were
through
Marines. They went through
the fucking Fortune 5, not Fortune 5.
Yeah, the Soldiers of Fortune, the Juan ads and the Soldiers of Fortune.
Yeah.
So he's, hooked up with Nasser, who's a fucking mess. The psychiatrist at the prison said that he felt he was more of a personality that would be the Strangler than DeSalvo. But I did see that the police found doctors' uniforms, maintenance uniforms at Nasser's residence.
Maybe he likes to fucking play dress up.
You never know. But as I said, when his DNA was checked, not a match. So he denies it.
His DNA isn't enough to, or it's enough to clear him of being it in that aspect. But every time he's come up from parole, it's like that's a background why they won't let him out.
Right. Well, that's what he says, that it's like, that's bullshit that they're not letting me out on parole because of this thing hanging over my head.
And even his
people
fucking
think
lawyer
I'm the Strangler.
has said that too, that, he'll probably never see the light of day just because of his, connection to that, whether it be true or not.
Right. That's a good point. Now, Chris, it does seem, like Nasser wasn't the Strangler, but you have anything to add to the whole Nasser? Do you think he had anything?
I really don't think
Was he a copycat or anything at all?
No, I don't think he was a copycat. I think, like you said, DNA proved it. And like Cashman said, DNA proves it. Why can't I be gone, dude? Fuck that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if he's legit able to be paroled, that's not right. As a funny side note, I thought this was hilarious. 1971, the Texas legislature passes a resolution
I saw this
honoring DeSalvo for his work in population control. I can't even believe this. Of course, nowadays, nobody has the fucking sense of humor to do something like that.
No, but this fucking was
it's fucking awesome.
Yeah, because he didn't think
Tom Moore, this Waco representative, Chris, he thought he was playing an April Fool's joke.
He thought, and he didn't Well, he didn't think people were fucking reading what they were actually voting for and all that shit.
Yeah, because it's like, like the healthcare bill, it's like all those pages. It's like, you're not going to read all that.
Yeah, and all these
You're just signing it.
And it is just like us voting for it. It's just like that. Like you said, the representative, like everybody's got to vote on this bill before we can pass it on or whatever.
Right.
And they're honoring fucking DeSalvo.
Right. They had no idea because obviously he made his point that they didn't actually read it.
Right, because it fucking passed.
It passed. And then when he realized, of course, the joke was that it was a joke, he withdrew it. So
that's fucked
pretty
up,
funny,
man.
though. Tom Moore Jr., the Waco representative from 1971 in Texas. I think that's great. There have been a few movies. The notable one, 1968, called The Boston Strangler with Tony Curtis, Henry Fonda, and George Kennedy. Yeah. I have not seen it, but I did read that it was very fictionalized. Yeah. Portrays DeSalvo as like a multi-personality disorder, which he didn't have. So, I'm not interested in seeing it. 2008, there's a movie called The Boston Strangler, The Untold Story, and starred, I thought this was funny, David Faustino as DeSalvo. Bundy, baby. I haven't seen it, but it would be interesting to see Bud Bundy in that role as DeSalvo,
Oh, yeah, man.
The Rolling Stones song Midnight Rambler was about the murders.
Hell yeah.
And the macabre song, of course, The Boston Strangler, about him. And I thought this was kind of odd. This artist, this performance artist, very bizarre. He's dead now. Mark Morrisroe claimed he was DeSalvo's son. Pretty interesting dude, very out there, one of those performance artists.
I mean, the way
he died of AIDS like 30 years ago.
I mean, he's a performance artist. He was performing like he was DeSalvo's son to try and get somewhere.
And DeSalvo was leaving his fucking cum all over the place. You know how many
dude, that's facts, dude. That's facts.
That's true, man. That's true. Anything to add to this one, guys?
I don't think so.
I think we did really good on it.
All right, good. Well, my research for this one was done with a few documentaries on YouTube. The best one I found was in, like I said, Serial Killers, The Method and Madness of Monsters by Peter Vronsky. Such a great book. I mention it a lot, but I'm legitimately, love using this book. It is a must-have if you're interested in serial killers. There have been books about DeSalvo. There's been quite a few. I've never read any of them. The Reels, REELZ documentary about DeSalvo was excellent. It gets much more into the detective side of the story, has his son on there, and even some audio of DiNatale talking about the case. It's very interesting. But keep in mind,
his brother on there too and shit, talking about how his dad came in, grabbed him by the throat, and was like shaking him. Shit. That was fucked up.
Oh yeah. But keep in mind that with the DNA evidence that came out later on, depending on what you watch and when it was done, it may or may not have the whole story. Right. So keep that in mind. The grandson of Detective DiNatale, that Miles Jewell, he produced a documentary called Stranglehold in the Shadow of the Boston Strangler. I have not seen it, but I would be very interested to check that out. Next time, we'll be doing the story of Robert Hansen, guys. This is going to be a good one.
Alaskan hunter extraordinaire.
Little killer, killing bakery owner.
Fuck yeah.
Serial killer, fucking nut job from Alaska.
He did not like prostitutes.
No.
He did not.
I mean, he liked to hunt them.
Oh, yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he liked them for that.
He did. So we'll be doing that one next week. Going back up to Alaska. We haven't been up there since we did the... What's the Israel Keys? Yeah, so we'll be going back up to the tundra, and it's a very fucked up case. Definitely a good one. One of those guys that appeared pretty normal on the outside,
but not so much on the inside.
Not so much at all. Yeah, very sick and twisted. So that'll be next week. So you definitely are not going to want to miss that.
Fuck no, man.
So I think we've done our share of murdering tonight, guys. I hear that music. CK's throwing fucking hammers. Get ready to throw down. So, Joey, what do we got to do?
Horns up. Let's get our metal on.
Known the world over as the master of metal, the crusher of posers, and murder metal mayhem's knower of all things metal, hailing from Wild Van Street in Danbury, Connecticut, standing at 6 feet of brutal, punishing madness, weighing in at 220 pounds of poser pulverization. The one, the only, toughest bastard on the planet, Chris C.K. Kovacs!
Got the fucking great metal motherfucker on with us. What's up, CK?
What's going on, Hoss?
What's up?
Fucking
going
not
on?
much. What you doing, man? How's it going over there on Wildman Street?
It's November and it was like 75 degrees here.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah, it was like that here too. It's
like
so
for
weird,
real,
man.
it fucking just happened. Like earlier today, like me and Cashman were outside before we headed over to the studio. Like outside, it was windy and shit, starting to go somewhere. But now you walk outside, it's like a 20, 30 degree temperature difference,
Yeah,
dude.
it's supposed to be like in the 50s tomorrow, so like a 20-degree drop from today. So
Yeah, we got like a couple more days of warmer weather, then it's gonna drop.
then you'll get it. Yep, from us.
Yeah.
So good to have you on. I heard you've been throwing hammers at people from the house, and you threw one at a cop. I mean, Jesus, calm down over there, CK.
Wildman Street.
Apparently. And, of course, we have you on in the metal segment to teach us and our listeners about some metal that maybe people aren't aware of. I think you picked a good, little more obscure band this week, which is always cool.
Some war metal.
That's right. So what do you got, CK?
Got a band originally out of Colorado, Jag Panzer.
Very cool. I know who they are. I just don't know anything about them.
They've been around since '81, and they've
I
been
know
on
they've
and
been
off.
around a while.
They've been on and off for a while. Like I said, they formed in Colorado Springs, Colorado in '81. They were originally named Tyrant, but if you remember, I did a band called Tyrant for a lost
I
classic.
do remember that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember that.
And they had to change the name because that band was already Tyrant.
Okay, so Jag Panzer had to change their name, obviously, from time.
Right.
Yeah, all right.
Tired. So so what they did was they saw a poster of a German tank named Jag Panzer.
Oh, wow.
So they just abbreviated a little. It was JAGD PANZR. So they just
Drop the D.
dropped the D and did Jag Panzer, which is a cool name if you think about it.
That's awesome that you told me, because that
Very
was gonna
unique.
That was going to be a question I had. Is what the fuck does that name even come from? Like,
Right.
That was seriously going to be a question I had.
So it was a German war tank
Right on.
from World War II. They recorded a couple demos, recorded an EP in '83, and the big names in the band were the vocals. Obviously, is Harry the Tyrant Conklin, great vocalist. John Tetley, Mark Briotti, and they have on and off. They had this whiz kid as a guitarist, Joey Tafola.
Hey, Joey Tafola.
Does sound like something like that.
Right.
But they released their first album, Ample Destruction, in '84, and pretty much after that, they recorded an album that wasn't released after that, and then they were pretty much broken up. Joey Tafola signed with Shrapnel Records. He was supposedly the next Yngwie Malmsteen. He had 2 solo albums out. They did fairly well, nothing, extraordinary. Obviously, he didn't become the next Yngwie Malmsteen.
Didn't go nowhere huge.
I mean, they were great albums, and for what they were.
Right.
Harry Conklin formed a band called Titan Force in those years, which was similar to Jag Panzer. Put 2 albums out, great albums. I was actually listening to one of them today. '94, they reformed, but in a different with a couple different members. They got a different lead singer, which was some dude I never heard of. Daniel Conca.
How'd he do?
He only lasted one album.
All right.
They basically Mike Briotti and John Telly put the band back together with a couple unknown name people, and they put out an album called Dissident Alliance on a small label, but didn't go anywhere. It was an alright album. It wasn't anything special.
They just wanted to play music though, pretty much, right?
Yeah, and there was no ample destruction. Soon after that, Harry Conklin, the Tyrant, came back. Joey Tofola came back. And that's when they started to really get into their groove and started to release like some really killer albums. 97, they released The Fourth Judgment on Century Media. Great album. It was re-released again in 2007 with a couple of bonus tracks.
Still on Century Media. A year later, they released The Age of Mastery, another great album. At that time, Joey Tofola left, and they got a guitarist called Chris Broderick. Now, does anybody know who Chris Broderick is?
That name sounds really familiar.
No.
He left Jag Panzer to go to another band.
What was it?
Megadeth.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
No shit.
Yeah, he left. I think he was only on that one album. Or he might have been on... No, he was on the two albums. He was on the album after that, Thing to the Throne, which was a concept album that revolved around Macbeth. Another great album. And all these albums are kind of like in the, quote, power metal / traditional metal genre. And I gotta say, during this time too, Harry Conklin was also in another band called Satan's Host, on and off.
I think I've heard them before, I think, too.
They're considered a black metal band, but only in lyric themes only. The sound isn't black metal. It's kind of like a Merciful Fate type thing.
Right.
Where the theme is around Satan and all that, but the music isn't really
It's
black
not black
metal.
metal, right?
Right. And he's been with them on and off. He's back with them on the last couple albums. And if you ever get a chance to check those albums out, they're really good albums too. And in 2001, they released my favorite album by Mechanized Warfare. And that kind of threw in, actually, that I think that's the album where Joey Tofola came back. No, I'm sorry, Chris Broderick was still in the band at that time. They actually threw in a little bit of progressive metal on that album. And it's probably my favorite album by them. And, and they kept on just cranking out the albums one after the other. Chain of Command was after that. That's when Broderick left, and they got a guitarist named Christian Lusick as his replacement. Wasn't as good as Mechanized Warfare, in my opinion, but they did do a killer version of Inagata Vita by Iron Butterfly.
Right. Oh, cool.
You do know you're not allowed to have your own opinion these days, right?
Right.
I don't give a fuck. I give my opinion regardless.
Fucking right.
Fuck that shit.
Or you'll throw a fucking hammer at him.
Fucking right. Hammers for days.
Sponsored by Ace Hardware.
Don't sue us.
And
yeah, right.
And 2004, they released Casting Stones, and then they took a hiatus from 2004 to 2011. And that's where Conklin got more involved with Satan's Host at that time. He was doing more of the Satan Host stuff that from like 2004 to 2011. And they came back with a killer album, The Scourge of Light, which to me is one of my, next to Mechanized Warfare, is probably my second favorite album by them. And again, they took a little hiatus. And Conklin went back to Satan's Host until 2017, where they released The Deviant Chord, which brought back Joey Tafala. And that's got a little bit of more of a progressive edge to it, like Mechanized Warfare.
Right.
Killer album. And right now, that is the last album that they recorded. I don't know what they're doing at this time. As far as I know, they're still a band. I know Conklin has done the Three Tremors album with Ripper Owens and the singer from Cage. God, I can't. Sean something. Can't remember his name. He also did the singing for the Denner Sherman band.
Oh, okay.
But I can't. Sean. Let me see if I can find it real quick. But they recorded an album called Three Tremors, which the original Three Tremors was supposed to be
good movies.
No, was supposed to be Bruce Dickinson, Rob Halford, and Jeff Tate, but they never were able to get anything recorded together. So these guys took the idea and actually did it. Sean Peck was his name. So yeah, he did 2 years ago. He did the Three Tremors with Sean Peck, Ripper Owens, and himself. Which, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a really cool album. I'm not a big fan of Sean Peck, but it's pretty cool on that album. Like I said, as far as right now, as far as I know, Jag Panzer is still a band. Hopefully they'll come out with something new in the future.
Hell yeah, dude. I was actually listening to some of them at work today just to check them out because I never really listened to them. I heard of them, never really knew anything. They were pretty decent. I mean, not necessarily my fucking thing, but I'm not going to say they're a bad band, but I dig it.
They're kind of like they're like a thrash type power metal,
right?
Basic classic metal band with a little bit of progressive elements thrown in.
Oh yeah, I was digging it.
And that's
cool.
Yeah, that's it on Jag Panzer.
What you got on awesome, that Lost Classic, bro?
Yeah, what you got for us, man?
This is now an album that everybody I assume knows. If you don't, you should. Heaven and Hell, and if nobody knows who Heaven and Hell is, it was basically Black Sabbath with Dio, the Mob Rules lineup. And they did that because they were getting along with Ozzy and playing shows with Ozzy at Sabbath. So what they did, not to piss Ozzy off, they changed that formation of the band to Heaven and Hell. And they put out an album called Devil You Know, like in 2008, 2007. And it didn't get that much. It's a great album, and it's good as the Sabbath albums, but it didn't get that much.
Yeah, it didn't get the love, man.
No, and I don't know why. And I was listening to it the other day. It's still a great album.
Yeah, I got to listen to that again. It's been a while.
It's heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
But it's still available. They have a live out. They have 2 live albums out under Heaven and Hell. Check those out.
Wow.
Definitely a killer album.
Fucking A right, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. Well, I'll tell you what, we got the good metal knowledge going. I'd like to go around the horn and see what everybody's fucking been listening to. So, Joey, we didn't get to jam some fucking Onslaught.
You know you need to pop that in.
Fuck yeah, little 6-6 fucking 6.
Throw in the tape deck.
All right, here we go. All right, jamming some 6-6 fucking 6.
Fucking Onslaught.
Onslaught's the shit. And that means we got to talk about what we've been listening to lately. Chris Shawback, what about you, dude?
That new fucking goddamn Evil Dead, dude.
Yeah, man.
Dude, me and Cashman been jamming that.
Yeah.
Dude. It's fucking nasty as shit.
I didn't even know that came out until I saw Cashman post that.
Yeah, dude.
It's so good. It's like, in my opinion, one of the best return thrash albums of all time.
Dude, it's really fucking good. And I never really listened to him ever. And then we was jamming the first album.
Yeah, from 89.
From 89. The album from 89.
The first two albums are great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dude,
I
we were
haven't
jamming
heard
that.
that
I was
in
like,
forever,
this is so
man.
fucking
Wow.
sick, bro. So yeah, and I was jamming that. And
Evil
some,
Dead, man. Damn.
The other day I was jamming some Toxic Holocaust and shit. So I've been doing some thrash shit lately. So
That's
like,
cool. That's cool. I
yeah.
love thrash. Joey, what about you, dude?
I've been jamming a lot of Lord Gore. I was listening to the Resecond album, which I probably said last week, but then I also put in the Autophagus Orgy after that, which is their first one. And then today, me and Chris were headed over here to Hornside Studios, and fucking Storm was rolling in.
Yeah, it was.
Pretty
Yeah.
heavy one for a minute.
Yeah.
So we fucking left a little early and went out and fucking hung out in the Storm, and I played Opeth Morning Rise. And
Cool.
Smoked some weed. And it was fun.
Yes,
Okay. It's all good.
He was out there.
It's legal. I've been jamming that new Fates Warning. Holy shit! Long Day, Good Night. I love it. CK, I know you talked about it in your live, but what have you been listening to? I know that's something that's probably been in there a lot.
You know I've
Dude.
been listening to that fucking thing.
Dude, Longest Shadow of the Day is absolutely
The whole
ridiculous, man. Holy shit!
Fucking 78 minutes of that album.
That's insane.
From beginning to end. Awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
And from what I've been reading, it may be their last album.
Yeah, where did you see that?
I saw a thing with Ray mention
Oh, wow.
that he seems like Jim put everything he had into this album because he thinks this is the last Fates Warning album. He thinks he doesn't want to. He's done with Fates Warning,
Wow.
and he wants to move on to other things.
Wow, interesting.
Then you got the Cryptid the last song, which is called The Last Song.
Right.
But I've also been listening to a band called Paul Bear, their new album.
Okay.
I've heard of that.
If you like fucking heavy, doomy shit,
That's why I don't
Holy crap.
remember.
Well, a band named Paul Bearer would have to be kind of doomy and gloomy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool.
check them out. Their album came out a couple weeks ago.
Okay. Any other new stuff coming out, CK?
Not really. You got the new Sodom in a couple weeks.
Right.
The new Within Ruins. Hatebreed. He just had the new Black Lord CD come out, which is pretty good. That's about it right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you some hoe-ass shit that's still going on is that CK doesn't have my split. And
No
Yeah, I
way.
know.
Really?
Yeah, I said
Oh,
it
my
long
God.
I know that certain things get lost.
Because
down
he's already got the carnographer I sent him with the
No,
mask and shit.
people that I send orders to way after fucking have gotten theirs already. But anyway,
Right.
I know how it is. What's going to happen is I'm going to go home and I'm going to fucking track the package, and it's going to hit like every city in the U.S. and
Yeah.
circled
It
around
went on the
Danbury
campaign
5
trail.
times.
Went
yeah.
on the campaign trail.
So anyway, I know how that shit goes. I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
get there, but it's just like that
That's
right there's
fucked.
my nemesis package.
That's
out
annoying,
to
man.
CK, yeah.
That's annoying.
There's always one,
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
and it happened to be mine.
Yeah, for sure.
Have you listened to that carnographer yet?
That's killer. I actually listened to it online.
Oh,
Before I got the CD.
Dude, it's fucking nasty as fuck.
It is fucking nasty, man. Those guys are
Good shit.
badass. Definitely badass. Does the mask fit you, CK?
Yeah, it does actually.
Awesome. Yeah, I was looking at their merch and I'm like, looking at this mask. I'm like, man, CK could always use a new mask, you know?
Right?
I'm thinking about wearing it to my doctor's appointment
I
tomorrow.
would.
Nice.
I mean, I wear mine to work. Shit.
Well, why not? Why not? Hearing that train in the background there. All right, CK. Well, there we go. That's
There it is.
front and
Loud
center
as
now.
fuck. What
So,
up?
all right, guys. Well, I think we've done plenty of metal tonight. So, CK, what the fuck do we need to do?
Oh, we gotta get her. Oh, Mayhem on.
It's down and wanting a man of days. Just my soul deep down inside, no return to yesterdays. Its drumming tone reminds me how predictable my life's become. Every day
Hello, ladies. With the holiday season almost upon us, don't let the hustle and bustle of shopping catch your cooter smelling like someone left a trout in the silverware drawer. We got a special here at Dr. Geen Vagina Maintenance that is sure to please that special someone in your life. We have a tub of our special holiday pumpkin spice vagina butter, plus a stick of our new clitoris cream that is sure to make your hoo-ha smell like a freshly baked pumpkin pie with a dollop of whipped cream. What's better at the holidays? Well, how about our latest creation here at Dr. Geen's Vagina Maintenance, our eggnog douche. Sure to keep your pussy smelling like an invitation for love rather than a nightmare on Elm Street. Give us a call today at 1-800-STINKY-PUSSY and get some Dr. Geen's Vagina Maintenance in your life right now, bitch.
Oh my God. I love those fucking Dr. G vagina maintenance. Eggnog douche. What in the fuck?
Oh, that's definitely a creation. Jesus fuck.
Wow. Yeah, I challenge another podcast to pull off some shit like that. For
That's
Christ's
fucking
sake.
hilarious.
God almighty. Well, here we are in fucking Mayhem, guys. We like that. We like being in Mayhem because a lot of crazy shit goes on in Mayhem. A lot of our listeners find this the most fun, goofy, silly part of the show. And
Fucking right.
of course, that was Dr. Geen Vagina Maintenance number 3, Joey. You've done 3 of those. They're great. And then before that, Jag Panzer with the song The Deviant Chord. So good stuff. Now, we talked right before on the break here about it. Did anybody have any Mayhem stories? And I actually have a story that I wanted to tell about somebody I know through a job.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying a current job,
Right,
just
right.
a job. And this particular individual is very difficult to deal with. Like he's like ridiculously on time. Like if you're not like 20 minutes early, you're late kind of a
Get the
guy.
fuck outta here
Like
with that
really
bullshit.
obnoxious, right? So he's really obnoxious. He gets up at like 2:30 in the morning. So he's like, he's setting shit up at
What
schools
time
at
is
like
he going to
4.
bed? I fell asleep at like 12:30, 1 o'clock.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know how he does it.
He's probably an apostolic Christian.
He probably
No,
is.
he's not. I don't believe he is. So anyway, this guy has just done a series of just stupid things, like where he like gets I don't know about violent, but just like acts out, and he was doing something with was trying to get up to in a building in downtown Decatur, going up to the top floor to get up to the roof access on this apartment building. And it's this big, trap door to get up there, and it's all locked and everything.
Right.
And so he's like all frantic trying to find something to break the lock. And I told him to just chill the fuck out. We get a ladder and get up there and just use some bolt cutters and cut the fucking lock off.
Universal key.
Right. Because I told him, we have to be able to make sure that's securable when we leave, or people are going to break. We're in fucking Decatur, right? People are going to break in here
People
through this
don't
fucking
steal
roof.
stuff in Decatur.
No, they
No,
don't.
that never
They
happens
don't.
in Decatur,
It's a
man.
fucking
Shit.
shithole, CK. So,
Sorry to anybody listening from Decatur.
right?
but
Yeah, sorry, but God Almighty. So anyway, he's got this 8-foot piece of angle iron that he finds, and he's swinging it. He's a pretty big dude, okay? He's like swinging this thing over his head like fucking Thor, trying to break this fucking lock that's up high. And I keep
And it's
telling
like
him
a straight up padlock, right?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna break it with a piece of fucking angle iron, bro.
So,
what the
I
fuck?
know it's 8 foot though. It's a fucking piece of angle iron.
You got.
I know, but he's a fucking idiot. So he's swinging this fucking angle iron at this lock, and I'm like, dude, like really? And he fucking keeps doing it, and it lets out of his hand, and it flies across the room and almost hit me.
Holy fuck!
And I had to go fucking ballistic on his ass,
Like, listen, motherfucker, dude. I told
So
you
then,
no.
same guy on a different job. They're doing a job where they're taking a ceiling down, and there's a female on the job who was just short to
Right.
reach. So her husband at the time made her. He was on the job too. He made her a little 2-step stool,
Step up and grab shit.
just
yeah,
something
no big
simple
deal. Yeah,
to
right
do.
on.
A little handmade deal was great.
It worked fucking right.
So anyway, this fucking dude that was with the swinging the fucking
Right.
angle iron, he's on this job. He gets all fucking mad about something broke, so he takes it and he smashes her.
Wait, he smashed this old girl's fucking shit. What a piece of shit, dude.
Dude, she was so fucking mad. She's like, I didn't even know what to say. He was just smashing it.
Whoop his ass. What the fuck?
So yeah, this dude's fucked, okay? And he's done all
fucking
kinds
hilarious.
of stupid shit like this. But one of the funniest things that he did was we were doing a job at this is the last part of this, at a factory, and there was a woman that worked at the factory that was very attractive, and she had her office out in the factory. So we were going to be working
Man, he wasn't some kind
above.
of deviant, right?
No, but he, thought she was pretty. I mean, everybody did. She was
Right.
an attractive young woman. We're doing a job above the ceiling, above her office.
Oh my fuck.
He fell through the ceiling and landed on her desk.
Get the fuck
And
out of here.
completely smashed it. Like it was a V. Like everything on it was fucking destroyed.
Oh my god, dude.
Thankfully, she wasn't in there.
Right, okay,
But she came back into her office and he was
just-
laying on the desk,
like what the fuck was
groaning.
that?
They had to call the hospital and shit. Yeah.
That's fucking
yeah.
awesome, bro.
So he did something dumb today, not worthy of a Mayhem story.
Right.
But it prompted me to think of
remember about
these,
that,
reflect
Like these
back.
stories, let
Yeah.
me check this out.
Some
dude.
stupid
That's
shit, though. Yeah,
hilarious,
this guy's a fucking trip.
Through
Oh,
the
one
fucking
more.
ceiling.
He was supposed to go in this apartment. This university gave him keys to get into this
Right,
apartment
right.
that they owned, and he's trying the keys and they don't open the door, and he's getting mad. He's like pulling on the door.
Sounds like he's got
He
patience
decides
issues.
to kick the door in. And it was the wrong apartment. Some dude was in there sleeping. He winked the fuck out.
He's serious.
I am serious.
He's lucky he didn't get shot.
I know, dude. This is a long time ago. Like I said,
Oh my
it's all
God,
good.
dude.
It's all
Holy
good. It's
shit,
just funny
that's fucked
stuff.
Up, man. That's hilarious.
So there you go. There's my contribution to Mayhem tonight.
That's good,
so.
dude. Kicking
right.
in the wrong fucking apartment door. It will get you shot.
Yeah. Killer cage match tonight, guys. Got a few listeners to thank. Chris, who do we got?
Yeah. We got Steve-O Morningstar, Mason Robertson, and Kathy Spaulding. Once again, thank you all for the numbers. Thanks for listening. Thanks for spreading the word. Fuck
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, we love getting the response from the listeners. I think that's the favorite part of this killer cage match is they get to participate. And Joey, we got a good one. We pair up these killers and put them in the cage. The listeners pick numbers 1 through 70, and we have a list of 70 killers, 70 objects. They pick the numbers, so that's how this all comes to be. And who do we got tonight?
I mean, this one's a different one for us. We haven't seen
It
this.
is.
So we have the trippy hippie, Charles Manson.
The trippy.
And that fucking OG gangsta, Al Capone.
Nice.
Fucking right,
Shakers,
man.
baby.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I was thinking we should have Bob weigh in on this one.
Right, what you
but,
got, Bob?
Yeah, Charles Manson and Al Capone fighting with what, CK? 2 objects our listeners picked.
A thermosil with hot pus, a bucket of battery acid,
Yeah, that's fun.
and this variable is great. It's Joe Biden with a chainsaw.
Oh, fuck yeah,
All right,
man.
all
Joe
right.
Biden. So, we got Charles Manson and Al Capone fighting to death with a thermos filled with hot pus. That's fucking disgusting. And a bucket of battery acid.
Oh, I know what's going to
And
happen.
the variable is
Oh,
Joe
I-
Biden with a chainsaw.
I know what's going to
Chris,
happen.
what are you thinking?
I don't even get political about shit, but Joe Biden's going to fall asleep because I've seen him on TV.
Yeah, he
And
might.
this ain't even political
That
views
might
or
just
nothing.
lull
Just
him
want
to
everybody
sleep,
know.
man, the
And he's going to
chainsaw.
fall on the chainsaw and cut his head open.
Oh, okay.
So that's done.
Okay.
Manson, he's going to be sitting over there like, nah, come on, man. Peace and love, whatever. Get all his iffies over there. Fucking goddamn Capone. He's just going to be like, hey, grab that acid, boys, throw it on them. And he wins.
So you're thinking Capone's going to throw the battery acid on Manson?
Yeah, Capone's throwing the acid on Manson.
I got a different take on it.
What do
what
you think,
you
CK?
got?
Here's what I think. I think you're gonna have Charles Manson. He's gonna get to the battery acid first because Capone isn't the healthiest looking person.
Right.
Word.
He's gonna throw the battery acid in Capone's eyes,
Okay.
and with his powers of persuasion, like he got all the family members to kill for him.
Right.
He's gonna have Joe Biden with the chainsaw.
Oh, wow.
Cut the head off of Al Capone.
Oh, damn.
Damn, dude.
Then him and Joe Biden are gonna light up a fucking joint and just smoke it
Okay.
when it's done.
All right.
I
like that. Joey, what do you think?
I've got an even different theory.
What's
I
that?
thought of another theory, too.
But the way I see it is I think whenever it all starts up, Al Capone, he's going to bribe Joe Biden. He's going to buy him off and get the chainsaw.
Oh,
To which
okay.
he's going to overpower Manson. And he's going to take the chainsaw and cut him in his asshole, but just a little bit, and then pour in a little sulfuric acid and a little of the pus, and then take the chainsaw, cut it a little more sulfuric. He's going to continue to do that until Manson finally is just dead.
Oh, wow.
Oh God.
Damn.
My second theory
Yeah,
quick
go
is
ahead.
Manson's just like, whoa, acid, man. Fuck
Yeah.
yeah, bro.
Give me some of that. Yeah. That's interesting.
What do you
I
think,
tell you,
Steve?
after all of what you guys, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I do think Capone obviously physically much more superior than Manson, but Manson's a shifty motherfucker, and he's definitely street savvy, and he might be able to even power Biden to get the chainsaw.
Right.
But Capone's a big boy, and even though he was, the boss and probably had a lot of other people doing his shit, I guarantee you he's fucked some people up in his life.
for sure.
So it'd be an interesting battle, but I liked the takes that you guys had. That was good. That was good. Well, that's a favorite part of the show. Always fun to do those. And, of course, we've got our season's beatings coming up. So that's going to be awesome.
Gonna be coming up quick.
I've got a little bit of an update of Creation of Chaos 3. I've been working on the 5th story for this one called Someone Else's Blood. At least at this time, that's what it's still called. Things have been going really well. I'm almost done with it. Getting ready to write my version of the H.P. Lovecraft story, The Thing on the Doorstep. I've been kind of saving it because I wanted to really be in a groove when I hit this one, and I'm really excited to do it. I've got my own take on the story. I'm simplifying it a little bit and modernizing it, and I think it's going to be really cool, so I'm excited to do that.
I'm excited to hear it for having read Eyes Have It, which you did,
No, I haven't either.
Poe-based.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool to see how you took the feeling and the ideas that they did with that story to put it into your own, but you can still tell, you're influenced by it. So now I'm curious to see the Lovecraft style.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. I did really, I'm very happy with The Eyes Have It. So, did you read that one yet?
I have not. I need to. Like I said, my daughter I emailed it to her because she wanted to check it out. But.
Sure. No, that's cool. I'd be anxious to see what she has to say about it. So anyway, I've been doing really well with this and cranking up to finish the book. I am going to be doing a phone conference tomorrow with artist Brian Usual, who's going to do the cover for this one. I know used Joey last time, and try to keep it mixing it up. We've been doing some work with Jeff Gaither for the podcast, and I like using different artists for different projects, and so I'm anxious to talk with Brian about that tomorrow. So that should be cool, and I hope that the book is done for next year, and I will do an audio version of it as well. So now last week we played you a 10-minute clip of my story, The Creep, a little piece of that. This week I'm going back old school for me, Creation of Chaos 1. This one called The Jesus Tree, and of course I've mentioned
That's
this
just
before.
A cross, right?
Yeah. Based on a real tree of that name, but my story creates a backstory of how the tree came to be there and why it's called that. And it's a very gruesome story, a little bit of a ghost story, element to it. And so this is the very first
one of them horror type novels.
A 5-minute piece of it. Just the beginning part of it, kind of the setup for it. So I hope you like this, and check out The Jesus Tree. The Jesus Tree, written by Pete Altieri, narrated by Pete Altieri. I don't think I will live to see another day. From the sound of it, they've got my house surrounded. If you could hear the creaking of the sturdy wood frame of the 60-year-old home, you might just understand my predicament. I don't expect anyone to grasp the extreme peril that I am currently in. The candlelight I'm using is flickering now. As the boards moan and groan under the tremendous pressure, I know time is short. I've taken to writing down the events that have led to this moment. There is a neat stack of papers I've got on the side table drawer next to my makeshift bed. I'm going to try and stay awake all night to finish what has already taken me nearly a month to compile. However, at my advanced age and condition, that has become increasingly difficult. My breathing is shallow, and I can feel the beating of my heart weaken with every stroke of the pen. They say there are no atheists in foxholes. I believe that now more than ever. I never was much of a religious person, but after what started in July of 1925, I changed my mind. It didn't take long for me to seek out the help of the clergy when things started to go wrong. With all their good intentions, even the men of the cloth weren't able to do much more than prolong the agony a little. I need to tell my story, as difficult as it may be, so that people know what happened to Franklin Philip Manville. I believe that once they are done with me, there will be nothing left. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust will be the literal end for this miserable thing I've endured called life. I can't blame anyone but myself for all of this. When I'm done writing this down, I can only hope that in some way I can prevent such a cursed thing from ever happening again. The wind is howling outside. Despite the fact that they have the house surrounded and in their firm grasp, I can hear it nipping at the asbestos cement roof shingles and shaking the storm shutters. I can also hear the wood continue to creak, like it might snap at any minute and bring the entire house down upon my wretched self. I can also hear the faint sounds of fireworks in the distance. That means it's the 4th of July. Where my house sits, I can hear the annual fireworks from both Danbury on the Connecticut side to my east and the Brewster, New York side to my west. For most people, the 4th of July is a time of fun in the sun and a celebration of our nation's independence. Yet for me, it's an annual date with the reason why I'm hiding in my attic, eating canned goods, and praying each night that I live to see another day. Every 4th of July, she comes to pay me a visit. She slithers into my house, and no matter where I manage to hide, she finds me. I can smell the rot and decay before she shows herself. I can hear that high-pitched laugh of hers from a distance before she comes to call. She reminds me of what I did to cause the horrible curse that has descended upon the once great Manville family farm and estate. I see that grotesque face in my dreams each night. She never lets me forget. I know that before midnight, she will be here to taunt me. She will remind me once again what I did and why my life has been one long tormented curse. Today marks 50 years since that humid night in July of 1925 when all this began, and I shudder at the thought of what she has in store for our annual get-together. I boarded up the attic access hatch, but I know it's no use. For now, all I can do is write as quickly as my gnarled arthritic fingers will allow. My body is falling apart slowly, and my mind has trouble focusing like it did in my youth. Yet I must continue, as the wind shakes the house to the foundation, and the cracking sounds of wood breaking begin to escalate with the ticking of my clock. It's almost midnight. She will be here soon. I think I can hear that God-forsaken laughing coming from downstairs. God help me. All right, so hope you guys liked the Jesus Tree intro there.
Like I said, well, let's do it. Like the whole thing, like you said, the girl down there laughing. Like, I like the way it sounded, man.
Cool.
Now,
Thanks.
I'm biased. But
Well, if you like that, that's on Creation of Chaos 1. You can go on Amazon if you want to buy it that way, or you could buy it from me and get a signed poster and a bookmark with your order. So check out the episode description if you want to get your own copy. An audio version of that book will be available in 2021 as I go back and record all 3 of the books in audio form. So eventually they'll all be there. I mentioned last week that I'm going to be starting my own podcast, and it's going to be called Voice of Dread Podcast here on the Horns High Podcast Network. So Murder Metal Mayhem and Voice of Dread will be on the same network, and we're also talking with another podcaster friend of ours, possibly coming along and being a part of what we're doing here. So I'm really excited about that, and we'll keep you posted. But things are, moving along and nicely, and definitely start that podcast in January. It's going to be a bi-weekly show with updates on my writing, some excerpts like you heard there. Discussion on horror books, movies, stuff like that.
have
interviews,
different people and shit. Yeah.
yeah. So it's gonna be similar to what we're doing here, but a little different. So if you're digging on Murder Metal Mayhem, I think you'll probably like it. So I wanted to play you guys the intro that I came up with for the show. So check this out. It's about 40 seconds.
Warning, this is a hostile takeover of your brain. You are about to enter a dark and disturbing world where horrible things are hiding in the closet, under your bed, and lurking in the shadows. Despite your harsh new reality, have no fear. You are hearing the narrator of your new chaos. I will guide you, so hold my hand and don't mind all the screaming.
You are listening to the Voice of Dread podcast on the Horns High Podcast Network.
There you go.
There it is.
All right. So that'll be the intro for the new podcast. So that's going to be cool. And like I said, will affect this? No, not at all. It'll be the same. I'll be doing everything the same as we usually do.
Oh, it's going to be a fucking straight up fight, dude. It's going to be like just like these season beatings, right? Jesus
Right?
Christ, man.
Yeah, Seasons Beatings is going to be amazing. We've got our lists of killers together. We're going to pair up killers with musicians. Should be funny. We've actually throw a wrinkle in this. We came up with the idea to pull in a couple of dead musicians. So there's zombie musicians. So
Dude,
they'll be fighting with the serial killers. What's that, Chris?
I don't know who you guys picked, but
You saw mine, didn't you?
no. That's I don't know who you guys picked.
Oh, yeah.
But what if we did a fucking musician killer? If we did goddamn Varg, dude, that would have been like, god damn.
Then pick him.
Yeah, we
Pick
could
him
pick.
your last name?
No.
I'll say you can.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, do Varg. That's a good idea. So we're going to pair these up. So there'll be 16 matches, just like we did with Hellcoming. Artist Jeff Gaither is sponsoring this one. It starts in December, first week. He's sending us 11 by 17 prints for the studio. It's going to be awesome, hand-signed. And one of them, Chris, will go to the grand prize winner. So that'll be
Fucking
a cool
right,
thing.
Man.
And we're also going to have some Murder Metal Mayhem merch. New shirts we got coming up.
We
They're going to be amazing.
We just all had a discussion about the design.
Yeah.
They're going to be tight. Y'all are going to want these.
Yeah, definitely.
Kick ass.
Yeah, I want to wait until we see something from Jeff.
Right.
But Jeff is doing the T-shirt design. It's going to be sick. All we're going to tell you, one clue, is we're going with a little zombie theme with
It's going to
this.
be
So
pretty badass.
it's going to
I
be
can't
really
wait.
cool.
If it looks anything like what I have in my head, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be really
It's
cool.
just gonna be a picture of my zombie dick.
That's it. Nothing but that.
So we're going to have prizes for the different. We got 4 contestants that'll be playing. We don't have them yet. We will be. The grand prize winner, though, gets to co-host the murder segment with us, just like we've done before.
We're going to have Chris doing fucking...
Oh, that's going to be so cool, man.
Another
Chris Worstrom.
I didn't even think about that. God damn.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We'll just have to call him Gorespawn.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
We'll just have to
fucked
call him Gorespawn.
Yeah, this fucking show attracting Chris.
Yeah, Ed Kemper, the final episode of the year. That's going to be so sick.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, co-ed killer. That's going to be great.
There was Joey's for a while, dude, like unstoppable.
Yeah, there was.
Chris
Yeah, like
me,
three
man.
of them. Yeah, that was funny. So, all right. So we'll keep you posted on that. But watch out on Facebook for a chance to be one of those 4 finalists. So
yeah, definitely check it out. It's going to be fun time. You'll get, like Pete said, you get some cool shit and just have a fun time. Fucking hanging out. Fuck it.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, we've done plenty of mayhem tonight, so let's hit that fucking outro.
Fucking Dillinger. Killing
Dillinger
it,
Escape Plan. When I Lost My Bet. It's a song.
Yeah, their fucking tempos and beats are like way
They
the fuck
are
off,
really
and it's
whacked
fucking
out,
awesome,
man.
dude.
Yeah, I knew you liked them, so I was thinking of something to play. So, bumper music tonight, some Dillinger Escape Plan, Fate's Warning, and Jag Panzer. And Joey, who the fuck's
Sure
doing
it's not
some
Jag
CK
Panzer?
intro music?
CK's music is done by Chrysix.
Hell yeah. And Chris, Murder
Oh,
Metal
we got
Mayhem
low
intro.
motherfucking 12, bitches.
And CK, who's providing that 6 fucking 6 each week for us?
Onslaught.
That's right. That's right. So we appreciate all of that.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Anybody, any of the bands that just like especially like Onslaught, just like straight up like, yeah, use that shit.
Yeah, he was all about it. Nige Rocket was really cool
Nige's
to tell
fucking
us to
about
just
it,
use
dude.
it. So go check out spellboundeffectsandart.com. We talk about them all the time, but they are amazing. Tony Campagna is just such a great guy, very creative, sick motherfucker, making it like Ed Gein was at your house.
Yeah,
you know?
if you want some shit for real, he'll do custom shit. Hit him up, be like, hey, I want this.
Yeah.
What can you do that
Gory
for?
shit.
I mean,
bands, fucking record labels want to put
I
like
ain't
some
gonna
dead
say it's
baby
only
heads
gonna-
at stage, man.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say it's only gonna cost you like $100 depending on what you want. But
Oh, no.
goddamn, it's quality shit.
It
you
is.
get what you pay for,
Yeah.
and you're gonna fucking love every piece of it, dude.
Yeah, when we have
It's
people
fucking
come over to the
sick,
table, they're like, fuck yeah, that shit looks so real,
And it's
man.
got the
Feels
weight.
real. Yeah.
It's fucking awesome, man.
It's amazing. So Tony is so great. Spellboundeffectsandart.com. Go check it out. Thanks to everybody out there listening. We keep seeing the numbers rolling in, just under 3,000 total listens this week. So thank you very much. We appreciate everyone. Fucking Lake Stevens, Washington, still
Killing it in
number
Washington.
11% of the listeners coming from Lake Stevens, Washington. So, wow, that is amazing. And we have finally another, well, we had one last week, but this one even more specific. Chris, a first commenter coming from Lake Stevens.
Yeah, Rob Banksley. What's up, Rob? What's going out there in Washington, dude?
Hell yeah,
Fuck
man.
yeah, man. It says, listening from Washington State. I work near Lake Stevens and listen to you guys all the time now. Love that shit. The Mayhem stories are the fucking best. And fuck yeah, dude. Like, let us know what's up out there in Lake Stevens, Washington,
Yeah,
man.
that's awesome, man.
Fucking come out there and get partying with you. Fuck.
Joey, what's the next one there?
Rachel Summers, 87. She commented, I absolutely loved hearing Pete read that part of his story, and I can't wait to hear more. Well, hopefully you just listened to this episode. and
That's
you did hear
right.
something else.
Got a little Jesus tree in you there. So, all right, CK, you got a good one to read here.
Satan is my homie, 666 commented. I listen from Ontario and Canada. You guys are really great. I tell as many people as I can about you.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Satan's
That's
my
awesome.
homie too, dude.
That's really
Satan's
cool.
my
I read
homie,
that.
too.
I was like, oh, fuck no.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Donna
Dude,
Dirksen.
It's like a fucking ICP song.
Right, totally. Donna Dirksen commented, I'm in the Navy and I listen to you guys in Italy. Hell yeah, my homeland there. Loving the podcast and can't wait to hear you cover Ed Kemper, the co-ed killer.
Right, man.
We've been waiting on some Ed Kemper. I'll tell you
Gorespawn
what.
going to be in on this too. And
it's going to be killer. Last episode of this year. We actually recorded on December 29th, but the day it comes out is the New Year's Eve will be when it's out. So you'll get it in 2020, the Ed Kemper episode.
2021.
Gonna be killer.
21.
So don't forget to check out murdermetalmayhem.com to listen to all the past episodes. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you could check us out now on Amazon Music, Spotify, Stitcher, CastBox, iTunes, and many, many more. Leave comments, please. It helps us rise up in the ratings. Rate the show. Let us know what you think. It's a great way to, tell other people what you dig. If they see you commenting, they're more apt to give it a listen. You could support the show. We talk about this all the time, Chris. That's 666 Club.
Man. Goddamn, go get some.
Yeah, patreon.com/murdermetalmayhem. Of course, all this stuff we'll link to in the episode description, but you can join for $3 a month, Joey. I mean, hell yeah.
Dude,
and now we've stacked up some more things in there,
right?
So it's like super worth it.
The Dahmer episode, the Ramirez episode, all those interviews.
Plus, you're getting the fucking hookup on the fucking gear and shit, and we're about to get new shirts.
That's
and
right.
whatnot.
10% off of merch when you're in the 666 Club. So you need to go do that. That's right. You could go to PeteAltieri.com if you want to pick up one of my books. And we can't let them go, though, without hearing a karaoke song. I did this one just with the city of Boston in mind, because they always play this at the fucking Red Sox game. So I thought, why not? CK, I hope you enjoyed this one. So.
Fuck Red Sox.
Yeah.
So crank it the fuck up, and until next time, keep one foot in the gutter.
And keep wrapping your mama's panties around her neck.
Bye.
Where it began, I can't begin to know when, but then I know it's growing strong. Was it the spring, and spring became the summer? Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but now I look at the night and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And what I hurt rubs off my shoulders. How can I hurt when holding you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, fucking touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Oh, no, no. Fuck no. fucked up. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. I believe they never could. Sweet Caroline, ba, ba, ba. Good times never seem so good. I'm feeling blind, ba, 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 to believe they never would. Yeah.
Mother, man.